Hey everybody, welcome to Dino Brookhaven. I am Dino. What is going on? Building a Lego haunted house. This is going to be fun. Stream number 2, didn't do it yesterday, but not going to be able to do it every day. Good to see everybody in the chat. Hey Harry Scott, Black Roses, Andrea Black, Stephanie Press. Good to see ya. What did I do? We are doing the Lego haunted house live build. I'll be doing some more old time radio as we're building this. I will tell you guys what I did last night. I finished up bag 4. There wasn't a whole lot there, so I just finished up kind of this corner area, and then we will start on bag 5. So with that said, yes, the haunted house, Lego haunted house, stream number 2. JLR, what is going on? Good to see you. Sweet Indigo, hello, hello, hello. Going to do some more escape episodes, so I kind of am digging listening to those while I'm doing the haunted house. Last Monday when we did it, some were good, some were so I'm just going to sporadically go through my collection and play what I have. So, but definitely good to see everybody. This opens right up. Look at that. I got it a little bit darker here today on me, but hopefully you guys can see over here pretty well. It's already starting to take shape. It does open all 3 ways because once it's all built, the main tower right here, which drops, elevator drop right here, shows all the rooms, the decorated rooms, the haunted house. So it's going to be pretty cool. So far I'm digging it. I'm liking it. It looks cool. Let's see. One Sean Bond, what's going on? Tough day today, you guys. So I'm gonna just go ahead and get at it. Itch my eye here a little bit, and then I'm gonna get into doing this. CBS Radio Mystery Theater on the Late Late Horror Show tonight. Timestamps. Got starting off with Dracula and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. So that will be on the agenda for the Late Late Horror Show. But here, and the update this week, I guarantee you, before the weekend, the video is going to be up for the entire tour of the city. I wanted to wait till tomorrow, August 1st, because I want to do one Lego City update once a month. You know, if I have to do twice a month, I will. But I'd like to do once a month a new update on the entire city. But this time I'm going to go real slow, eye level. You're going to kind of get a perspective of the streets, the park, the food court, which I added. I added the food court, the lighthouse, some water, a cabin, detective's office, finishing little details up and stuff like that. So it's really looking pretty good. I was sitting there the other day and I was just looking at the city at eye level, you know, and I'm just going, you know, you shrink myself, I could just walk right through over to the jazz club. It was pretty cool. And so far what I got here is someone in a wheelchair coming to see the haunted house. And I didn't know this does come with 2 of the caretakers. I have to see why it comes with 2, but it does. Anyways, maybe one of them's a ghost. I don't know. Who the heck knows? Hey, by the way, over on the Late Late Horror Show, going to be having a guest for Paranormal in the Night in August, talking UFOs and stuff like that. So that's going to be really cool. But anyways, we're here on the Lego channel, Dino Brookhaven, which is the name of my city. Dino Brookhaven. So there you go. Let's see. I'm not gonna lie here. I love haunted houses since the day started watching haunted house movies. Yeah, me too. Heck yeah. That's why I can't wait for Halloween. Cleveland, we've got some very good haunted houses in the area. What is it? Bloodview Haunted House. We have very close here, Akron. Like Schoolhouse, it's like 7 floors of terror. It's just really cool. But anyways, I should get going and should get started on this. So let's go ahead and do an episode of Escape while I put this together. And again, I'm just going to pop on. It could be any episode. Let's see. Okay, here. Let's do another sci-fi episode, The Scarlet Plague of Escape. Let's do this one and see. I mean, listen, we've heard all of these over and over again, but this one, yeah, a little sci-fi. Here we go. Enjoy.
Tired of the everyday grind? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all? We offer you Escape.
Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
You are alone in a world of decay and desolation, looking down on what was once a great city, while coming slowly to meet you, her hand stretched out in greeting to you, is a beautiful girl whose very existence may be the cause of your death.
Listen now as Escape brings you Jack London's classic novel, The Scarlet Plague.
Need to make more room. Hey, Chris W.
I am recording this only for myself, for my own sanity. Perhaps even from some age-old sense of duty. For I have not the slightest hope that it will ever be heard by any living human being. I was at one time a professor of English literature in the great university at San Francisco. Professor James Smith.
Hey, Connie.
A man who believed in reason and intellect and who abhorred the instincts of animal nature. But that was before the terror and the madness of the Scarlet Plague. This morning I killed a sheep with my bare hands, then squatting on the ground, I tore a haunch from my prey and ate it raw. It began simply on a Monday morning, as I recall. I was having breakfast at the counter in the campus cafeteria with Bill Dombey of the physiology department. He was glancing over the front.
Yeah, let me just say that I try to do these Monday through Friday when I can. There's going to be some days where I just push it another day. Today was another one of those days. I almost pushed it till tomorrow, but I didn't. I'm here building. But if that ever happens, it happens. I try to do Monday through Friday when I can. And yeah, so there you go. But sorry about that. But good to see everybody here. The Cube is here. What's going on, The Cube? Just getting started and trying to... I think I'm going to have to spread out a little bit more on this table because this thing opens wide, and in order to do some of the building, I need this long ways. So I might have to push everything up over here more. And this thing's got a lot of mechanisms. Like, look at these rubber kind of pulleys and wheels. Hopefully that don't mean it's going to be a little bit more difficult for these little things. But yeah, I need to make more room is what I need to do. Hey, Toon, what's going on? Let's get back to Escape. The Scarlet Plague. Here we go.
Page of the morning paper.
I don't know why I do it, Jim.
Do what?
Buy a paper every morning. Nothing changes but the date. Senator so-and-so back in Washington after whirlwind tour. Love nest killing in Omaha. New bomb test at Inuit scheduled for the...
What's that item down at the bottom?
Where?
Down the corner. New York fights Scarlet Plague.
Some news reporter's pipe dream, I suppose. 9 persons have died since last evening of a strange malady which has left doctors at Manhattan hospitals admittedly baffled. The disease, if it is a disease, strikes without warning and slays its victim in less than an hour. Apparently,
Hey,
the first
speedrunner.
symptoms are a feeling of well-being and lightheadedness, accompanied by a slight rise in temperature. A few minutes later, a fiery red rash appears on the hands and face and spreads rapidly over the entire body. Within 10 to 30 minutes, the victim goes into coma and dies. Ridiculous. There's no disease that acts like that. It's food poisoning, something of that sort.
Please, Bill, I'm eating.
Medical authorities are unanimously agreed, however, that no general danger exists and that there is no cause for public concern or alarm, which is double talk, for we don't know what it is yet.
What about a mutation?
Mutation of what?
Well, how do I know? You're the physiologist.
Oh, you're talking about those scare stories, I suppose. Harmless virus or bacteria mutates and throws down some new deadly type. Antibiotics won't touch it. Medical science helpless. 1 million people wiped out overnight.
It's a possibility, isn't it?
Oh, Jim, bacteria strains are always mutating. And usually the mutation is less harmful than the parent. That idea's been overworked for years. Pass the cream, please.
Oh. Bill? Is it a possibility or not?
Yes, it's a possibility. Hey, you're stalling, Jim. That rook's the only piece you can move, and you know it.
Don't rush me now. I still got the queen back here. Now, let's see.
And here is the latest development on the Scarlet Plague.
No, the
The following statement was released a few minutes ago
I wouldn't
by
move
the
that if I
director
were
of
you.
the Bureau of Public Health. Up to this hour, the official death toll in greater New York is 321 persons. In Boston, 94. Washington, D.C., 111. Chicago, 181. Medical
Spreading
men
like
throughout the
wildfire,
nation are
yeah.
working around the clock. It is expected momentarily that the causative agent of the disease will be isolated and an effective treatment prescribed. Meanwhile, stay home and stay calm. We return you now to dance time.
Turn it off, Jim.
How can it spread so fast?
It's hard to tell, not knowing the period of incubation, whether it's airborne, contagious by contact, how long it's contagious before the symptoms show up, not even knowing what it is, in fact. One thing sure, though, something's got to be done fast.
I guess we can call ourselves lucky out here. There hasn't been a case reported in San Francisco.
No, not yet.
When all the breathers of this world are dead, you still shall live. Such virtue hath my pen, where breath most breathes, even in the mouths of men. Now, I did not choose this particular sonnet because of possible contemporary suitability, but because it does, I think, best keynote the transitional phase that later appears in the philosophies and the poetic... Is something wrong back there?
Mrs. Smith!
Yes, what's the trouble, Miss Baxter?
Please! It's the Scarlet Plague!
Oh, now wait. Morley, Everett, wait and give me a hand here. Miss Wilson.
Professor Smith, look at my hands. My arm's all red.
Now, Miss Wilson.
I feel so strange. Cold and numb. I'm dying. Everyone who gets it dies. I'm only 19 and I'm dying.
There.
When all breathers of this world are dead, you...
Now it's in San Francisco. I sat for a long time in the empty classroom, paralyzed by shock, by a strange fear I'd never felt before, the fear of the unknown. The girl had walked into my class smiling and talking, and now she lay dead at the back of the room. Why? How could it happen so suddenly? What had caused the plague? Where had the terror started? And where would it end? I went to the faculty club. Bill Dombey was listening to the latest reports.
Latest reports from around the nation include the following figures. Greater New York, estimated 184,000 deaths. Philadelphia, estimated 150,000 deaths. St. Louis, estimated 83,000 deaths. Chicago, one moment, please. A bulletin has just been handed to me from London. The Scarlet Plague is raging in Europe. Unofficial reports from Russia estimate the death toll in Moscow at 180,000, with additional millions dead and dying throughout the Soviet Union and China. New bulletins will be broadcast whenever they are received for as long as our facilities last. And we...
No word of any cure yet?
Jim, I didn't hear you come in.
I just walked across the campus. It's completely deserted.
Yes. Guess the faculty club here is the only holdout. And at that, there are only 4.
4?
Counting you. Myra Blake of Graphic Arts. She went over to her room to pack some keepsakes. She'll be back. Dr. Barnes is out in the kitchen trying to rustle up something to drink.
Bill, that girl who died in my class a while ago, 1 minute she was all right, and a minute later she was dead.
Well, it's fast. That's one thing.
Can you get it from contact? I lifted her head. I put some books under it.
Nobody knows how you get it. I don't suppose contact matters much. It couldn't be all contact. Not millions of cases in less than 48 hours.
Well, why can't they find a cure? They've had 2 days now. What are they all doing?
Dying, Jim, like everybody else.
Dombey, Smith.
Yeah, I figured out what I did wrong. There was a large black piece that I must have finished the bags yesterday, late at night. I'm like, I gotta finish this bag before I start to stream tomorrow. And it was the only one sitting over there. And see, you could skip steps at times if you're not paying attention or you're tired. And that's all that I was missing. And I took it, and I must have thrown it in the bin that had all the little Lego pieces in there and stuff. So luckily, I went over there and just grabbed it right out. And oh, thank God it wasn't lost. Oh, that's the thing with Lego. You don't miss any steps. Anyways, whatever. This is a good story. I like this.
Oh, Dr. Barnes?
Here. Maybe this will help.
Scotch.
Why not? The whole case of it out there. I think it might be a good idea to keep that radio on.
Yes, you're probably right, Dr. Barnes. Technicians, engineers, they've died by thousands all over the country. How much longer can services like radio, telephones,
issued a few
transportation...
minutes ago. All conveyances, regardless of ownership or occupancy, are being stopped and turned back at Army control points. Stay where you are. Do not attempt to travel. You are no safer in one place than in another. The plague is everywhere. Repeat, the plague
It won't
is
stop them,
everywhere.
though. They'll still try to
The
run.
statement
Yes,
also reiterates
anywhere,
the
just as
earlier
long
claim
as
that
it's
the
somewhere
Army
else.
has not mutinied. Repeat, the Army has not mutinied.
It must be getting
Statement
rough out
signed by
there.
Edmund C. Dover, Senate member and acting President of the United States, and by the Joint Chiefs of Staff. In a bulletin just handed to me, Johns Hopkins regretfully states that Dr. Theodore von Zwickler, who had earlier announced partial success in identifying the causative agent of the plague, has just died. Though Dr. Zwickler left no notes on his work, hospital personnel continued to...
What happened to the lights?
Power failure, I guess. It was bound to happen sooner or later.
Well, there's a flashlight in that desk drawer.
I got it.
There's a portable radio with batteries in the game room.
Oh, let's leave it for the moment, Dr. Barnes.
Yes, the liquor sounds better than the news.
Well, in that case, wonder what's keeping Miss Blake. She was coming right back.
Hey, wait a minute. Where's that light coming from?
It's like a fire. Maybe we can see from the windows.
Not one fire, 1,000 fires.
Down there, toward the bay. Berkeley, Oakland, and over in the city. Why? What started them?
Open! Can't you hear why, Jim?
Gunfire.
Yes, they're not waiting for the plague to do the job.
No. They're already out in force. The looters, the maimers, the robbers, people with a hate and a grievance.
If it started already, it'll get a lot worse.
Oh, yes. It'll get worse.
You are listening to The Scarlet Plague, tonight's presentation on Escape. Sunday afternoon, CBS Radio will bring you another of its successful on-the-scene reports gathered by its feature project team. This time, we'll take you to the United States wide-open back door, the Mexican border, the crossing point for 2 million illegal entrants last year alone. We call this report the Wetbacks, because that's what so many of these illegal entrants are called as they swim the Rio Grande into the United States. Hear the Wetbacks, Sunday on most of these same stations. And now, Escape, and the second act of The Scarlet Plague.
We stood at the window of the faculty club, looking out across the campus, down over the hills toward the bay, where fires lit up the growing night, and where even fiercer fires of greed and lust and hate burned in hearts that were beating their last hours or even seconds of life in this world. For a world was dying at our feet, and though we had so far been spared, we knew we too were dying with it.
Contact is still being maintained with Buenos Aires, and since London Overseas went silent a few minutes ago, this is now our only contact outside continental North America.
It makes you know you're
We
alone.
are at present able
Really
to maintain
alone. Yes,
contact
it
with
does.
only 2 stations in this country, Washington and Chicago. The West Coast has been silent for some 30 minutes, and we do not know whether we are being heard there at this time.
Oh, this is unbelievable.
At
A
the moment,
crazy
we are waiting
dream.
for word
It
from
can't
Washington
be happening.
naming the
Kinda
new
like the Night of
president of the
Living
United
Dead,
States to
too,
replace
yeah.
Edmund C. Dover, who died on the Senate platform while attempting to conduct...
Yeah. What's the use?
Well, are we still agreed on leaving?
We must. If by
Yeah,
some
apocalypse.
miracle we do survive, we'll be out of food here in 3 days. And tonight may be the last chance to find any. They're probably looting every store in the Bay Area.
Grocery stores, liquor stores, jewelers, fur shops.
More the reason to get started now, then.
Right. If we can make 3 or 4 trips with the station wagon tonight, we ought to be set here for quite a while. What about those pistols, Dr. Barnes? You said there were a couple in the safe.
Yes, I'll get them.
It's funny how things are changing. He was chancellor of this university. Now he's foraging for food.
Yes, well, I'll gas up the station wagon and get it over here so we can...
Is anybody here?
Well, Jim, turn that flashlight on the door.
Myra.
Jim, thank heaven you're still here.
Oh, Dr. Barnes was worried about you, Myra. He just went into the other room. I'll tell him you're here.
All right, Jim. I was afraid there might not be anybody here. I was hurrying to get back, and I caught my heel on the edge of the walk and fell. I think I hit my head.
Tripped and fell, the whole world dying, and you trip and fall.
I guess it is funny.
How dare
Myra?
she?
Bill.
What is it?
What's wrong?
Dr. Barnes is lying just outside. Dead.
Plague?
Yes. But he got the pistols. Here,
Thanks. Do you know how to use one of these, Jim?
in a general way. Well, we'd better get started, Bill. We shouldn't be too long, Myra.
You're not going to leave me here alone.
Well, she's right, Jim. I wouldn't want to be left alone either.
All right. Let's go. We tried the Oakland docks first, the big food warehouses along the railroad tracks. It was a dead end. From a mile away, we could see the blaze towering into the night sky. The whole dock area was in flames. We swung the station wagon back onto the ramp and headed across.
Welcome, Black Brick Ops Lego. What's going on? Good to see you. Building the Lego haunted house, which I'm sure you realize that. What is going on? Good to see you. Welcome to Dino Brickhaven, where I do plenty of Lego stuff. I've got a huge Lego City update coming next 2 days, August update. Good to have you. I will check out your channel a little bit later too. We are listening to some scary stories, kind of some action kind of stuff as I'm building this. So here, right back to Escape, the Scarlet Plague.
The Bay Bridge toward the city itself, fighting our way in and out of the jumbled traffic and the terrified crowds on foot, turning and twisting among the dead and dying.
We'd better go back, Bill. This is getting worse every block.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to get a chance to turn around.
There's an alley there by the hotel. Maybe you can edge in there.
a try anyway.
Look out, Bill!
Hey, watch who you're bumping into.
Sorry?
I ain't taking a pushing around from nobody. Not anymore, you understand?
I told
That's on
you I
account of what I got. You take a look at a 45, wise guy.
Careful, Bill, he's drunk.
Look close, and you can see the bullet coming out. Watch now. I bet he saw it all right. I bet he got a real good look at
He's crazy, Myra. Come on, hurry. We've got to get out of here.
What about the other men?
We'll leave the car. Come on, out this side. This way, Myra. The hotel entrance. Out of the way. One side, step aside. All right, come on.
What can we do, Jim? They saw us come in. They'll be after us any second.
The stairway there, next to the elevators. Hurry, Myra. Maybe we can find a room, someplace to hide in case they come up the stairs.
Try that one, Jim.
All right.
Hey, look! We've got more guests.
Sorry.
Come on in and live. That's what I'll...
It really does sound like an older version of the Walking Dead. How just, the zombie apocalypse comes and really, really good story. And exactly like The Walking Dead, kind of.
What's it doing? Living while we're dying.
Party.
Go on in. We got plenty to eat, plenty to drink. 50 pounds of diamonds, tons of money, lots of women, and not a worry in the world.
Come on, Myra, let's go.
Sore heads? Come on, Lily, open another bottle.
Jim, where can we go?
Well, the hotel's about 12 or 14 stories high. The elevators aren't working. I doubt if anybody'd bother us on one of the top floors. They wouldn't have any reason to climb up there.
I know the episode's almost over, but Black Brick Ops Lego, do I have a Discord? Here's the deal. I fell in love with the hobby of Legos and the Lego City and everything. Just set this channel up not that long ago, but I've been on YouTube for 9 years, and I've got another channel called The Late Late Horror Show. There is a Discord for that, but I do not have a separate Discord for the Legos yet. As this channel is new, I'm trying to figure things out, and as the Late Late Horror Show is my main big channel, have not set up a Discord yet, but that's not a bad idea to maybe even a section on the Late Late Horror Show where no, it would have to be separate, Dino Brookhaven. But when it becomes available, I will let you know. Because if not, I would like to make you one. You'd like to make me one. Thank you, but I think I can. I'll make one. I will get one going. But I do appreciate that and appreciate you being here on the channel. So, yeah. Stay updated. Hopefully you're subscribed and all that good stuff.
You want to try it?
All right, Jim.
Let's go. For 5 days, we stayed on the top floor of the hotel, and no one came up to bother us. Twice, with pistol in hand, I left Myra in the room and slipped down into the streets to forage for food and supplies. Gradually, over the 3 days, I saw the mobs diminish, thin out, as the scarlet plague continued to rage unchecked. Then finally, on the morning of the 6th day, I brought Myra down from the room to see what had happened to the city.
There's not a person in sight, Jim. No one but us. Not another living soul as far as you can see.
Listen. There's not a sound.
A dead world. But there must be others, Jim. Not just us. They're hiding. We'll take a car and drive and look for them. There must be others.
But she was wrong. We drove for 100 miles, all over the city and the countryside around it. And when we finally stopped on a hill above the bay, we knew that there was not another living soul in the whole city. We were the only human beings left alive in San Francisco, and most likely the only ones in the entire world.
But why, Jim? Why us and no one else?
I don't know why. I don't know why any of this. It's just too vast to begin to comprehend. But we're alive. That's the only thing that's certain. We're both alive. To be alone, to be the only living human in the world, would mean terror. Absolute terror and insanity.
I feel guilty somehow. Being alive when everyone else is dead.
There can't be any guilt when you don't have a choice. It was nothing we did. And besides, Myra, don't you see what it means? Since we've been spared, mankind itself has been spared, and civilization. We'll have children. We'll teach them. See that they remember and pass on the greatness of the past.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Together. Together we can do it. We can give mankind another chance. You and I, Myra. We can keep it from being lost forever. Together, everything's different. There's a new hope, something to live for and work for. And we...
What's wrong, Jim?
Myra,
What?
your face.
Oh, no.
It's turning scarlet.
Oh, she's turning into a zombie. She's been bit. I love this episode. So good.
Under the direction of Norman Macdonald, Escape has brought you The Scarlet Plague by Jack London, specially adapted for radio by Les Crutchfield, starring Vic Perrin. Featured in the cast were Parley Bear, Virginia Gregg, and John Daner, with Eleanor Tannen, John Larch, Barney Phillips, and Sam Edwards. Your announcer, George Walsh. The special music for Escape is composed and conducted by Leith Stevens. Next week.
You are standing in the bedroom of an English inn, the sound of revelry coming faintly up the stairs. While in the shadows across the room from you, the gun in his hand already aimed at you, is an enemy agent whose success depends upon your death.
So listen next week when Escape brings you Ben Wright's story, Affair at Mandrake. Every Saturday evening at the Star's Address, enjoy William Conrad as Marshal Matt Dillon in Gunsmoke. It's a drama of the frontier of America in the 1870s. Authentic, dramatic, and full of the lore that made the American cowboy a part of our national heritage. Remember, Gunsmoke, Saturday night. Mr. Keene, Tracer of Lost Persons, is heard Friday nights on the CBS Radio Network.
Okay, well, there you go. That was an excellent episode of Escape, man. Kind of zombie apocalypse, man. The Walking Dead. GB Models. Gave you a sub. Your channel looks pretty cool. Anytime I hear models, that's pretty cool. Anyways, yeah, I'm getting there, you guys. Made some kind of little skeleton or ghost dude up here in this room. Now I'm building more of the mechanism, as you can see here, that is going to drop the elevator from the very top to the bottom. So all the gears you saw me make the first time, now I'm doing, this has got a lot of wheels and stuff to to build for the next for this. I don't know how many bags I'm going to get through this time. Hey, Lizzie, what's going on, Lizzie? Good to see you. Good to see everybody in here. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Thank you, you guys. You guys are all awesome, man. Appreciate you guys. Yeah, I'm getting there. Don't know what to say other than I'm working on all these little pieces and wheels. So I got to put 2 of these together, and then this is going to go into the top in here. So there's a lot of moving parts going on with this. GB Models, well, thank you. I do some Lego myself on my channel. Again, I will be checking you out. I just subscribed to you. As this channel is new, Dino Brookhaven. It is new, although I've got a lot of stuff that I've already got set up. I did a July Lego City update. I'm going to do an August one coming up here real soon where it's doubled in size, kind of, almost. And this is going to be a long, long road, and I love it. So thank you. Anyways, let's move on. Let's see. Fluff Chick Productions, what's going on? Good to see ya. And good to have you here, Dee, and everybody else. Thank you. With that said, as I build these wheels here, and I'm trying to... This one's harder to pick up and show you the steps that I've completed, only because they're connected and fold in like this. So it's going to make it harder for me to pick up and show you. So hopefully I can do my best to show you the steps. Anyways, let's see. What can we play next? That was a really good one. I do like the sci-fi ones for sure. Let me move along here, and I am seeing... let's see. You guys want to hear a deep sea adventure? How about a horror escape? Let's do a horror story since we're building the haunted house. Let's do a horror story. Well, let's see. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm going to do this one. About the Eye of Evil. Okay, here we go.
Tired of the everyday grind?
Yes.
Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure?
Sure.
Want to get away from it all?
Yeah.
We offer you Escape.
Thank you.
Escape, designed to free you from the 4 walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
You are standing in a moonlit clearing somewhere in the Burmese jungle, the ruins of an ancient temple at your back, while gliding silently across the grass towards you, the knife in her hand held pointing at you, is the beautiful yet deadly high priestess of the cult you have profaned, the exotic girl who must now take your life.
Listen now as Escape brings you Kathleen Height's story, Eye of Evil.
I'll do the sea adventure next.
I studied Fairchild as he read the letter. He was not a man I would ordinarily turn to for help, but I was not acquainted at Mandalay. Then, too, he knew Campbell. I mean no slur against Fairchild. He was bright enough as government office clerks go. I had simply hoped for more formidable assistance.
This is the last letter you received from Campbell?
The last word of any sort until I cabled him to meet me in Mandalay. He cabled back that he would and named this hotel at noon today.
Well, he's only 2 hours late. 2 hours doesn't mean much in Burma.
I'm not especially concerned about these 2 hours.
The letter, eh? Well, I can't say I blame you. Odd sort of letter. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Nor to me.
nor to anyone at the Historical Society.
I hate to suggest this, but it sounds as if the old boy's cracked a bit, wouldn't you say?
That's more or less what I've been sent to find out.
This part here, he says, I shall fail if where I look my eyes see no beauty. Can't deny it has a certain ring to it.
When was the last time you saw Campbell?
Oh, let me see. It was well before the rain set in. I should say a good 6 or 8 weeks before. That would make it late February or early March.
Well, Campbell's letter was posted here in Mandalay the 14th of May. You're certain you didn't see him around that date?
No, positive. Of course, just because it was posted here doesn't mean Campbell himself was in Mandalay.
Oh?
Probably sent it up here from Pugan by Mangba.
Mangba?
Burmese boy, devoted to Campbell. Been all sorts of help to him with all that probing about he does around Pugan, ruddy ancient shrines and pagodas. The place is crawling with him, you know.
Yes, that's what I understand.
Mungba does a lot of that sort of thing for Campbell. Errands, supplies, comes up the Irrawaddy by boat, you know. There's no train down to Pugan from Mandalay. I don't suppose Campbell relishes the boat trip often.
What was he like the last time you saw him?
Seemed normal enough. We lunched here at the hotel just as we're doing.
From what you've said, that's about 4 months or so ago. I guess a lot could happen to a man in 4 months.
It could in Pugan. Nothing but those miserable pagodas and shrines. I don't take much to ruins myself. You've been there, haven't you, Loring?
No. This is my first trip to Burma.
Oh. Well, then, might just give you a word about the people, all sorts, of course, but those around Pugan seem to be given to all manner of strange beliefs, superstitions, odd things. Well, the evil eye, for example.
You serious?
Dead serious.
Well, we can't be talking about the same thing. If I remember correctly, the archaic belief in the evil eye is that if one possesses it, anything or anyone he looks upon will die.
Quite right. Only it isn't entirely archaic. It's a widespread belief in India, parts of Egypt, Arabia, and certainly here in Burma.
Oh, that's fantastic.
If I may, Loring, you're apt to find a great many things in Burma fantastic. Not so much in Mandalay, perhaps, or Rangoon, but around Pugan and to the west and north. There's a feeling, a mystic something that's been known to take hold of men.
You're suggesting that Campbell...
I don't know. You'd have to go there to find out.
As Fairchild left me, something drew my attention across the room. She was alone. And quite possibly the most beautiful woman I had ever seen. Utterly, strikingly beautiful. And the look in her eyes was a compelling invitation. In no time at all, I accepted.
You were a very long time.
Matter of seconds after I saw you.
But you were a long time seeing me. I have been looking at you for almost an hour.
Not like that, you haven't. No, I'd have known.
I wonder. Your face, a very nice face, has been clouded with concern. And so would mine have been with your luncheon companion.
He was a bit drab, wasn't he?
I saw no reason for you to spend more time with him. Gina decided you should spend your time with her.
Gina. I like that.
And I like the name Stephen Loring.
How on earth could you know that?
Either I have the gift of clairvoyance, or I paid to look at the hotel register.
Oh, well, in either case, I'm flattered. And because I haven't much time, I agree with Gina. I should spend what time I have with her.
How much time?
Today. Perhaps tonight.
And tomorrow?
No. Tomorrow I'm off to Pugan and feeling a mystic something that's been known to take hold of men.
You joke about Pugan.
Oh, no, not really. I was quoting my drab friend. I've never been to Pugan myself.
I do not think you would like it there.
Oh?
Pugan is very different. I should think you would find Mandalay much more to your taste.
I should think I would, too. And Gina, knowing Mandalay was strange to me, wrote out instructions that would lead me to our rendezvous that night, and then she was gone. I found it difficult to believe our meeting had ever occurred, except that the memory of her was vivid and haunting. I lingered over a brandy and was preparing to leave the dining room.
Greetings, Takin. You are, I am certain, one Mr. Loring?
Is everyone in Burma clairvoyant?
No, Takin. I am pleased to be Mungba.
Who?
Mungba.
Oh, Campbell's friend from Pugan. Well, where is he? Isn't he with you?
Regrettably not with Mungba. Esteemed friend remains in Pugan. Asks that you understand and kindly to return to Pugan with Mungba.
Oh? Well, is anything the matter
Mungba.
with Campbell?
To say again, esteemed friend remains in Pugan. Asks that you understand and kindly to return to Pugan with Mungba.
No, I understand you all right. I'm inquiring about Campbell. Is he well?
To say again, esteemed friend
all right.
remains...
No, I understand. I am to come with you to Pugan. Campbell is there.
Good.
Good.
To leave now is to arrive at Pugan as the sun rises.
No, not good. Not today. Tomorrow morning, when the sun lives again, we will go.
To say again, to leave now.
No. Never mind that. I said not today. You understand? Tomorrow morning, you and I go to Pugan.
Not good.
Very good. Now, here. Can you lead me to this address or show me how to get there? See?
To answer, Mungba is able to lead to this address.
Splendid. Then meet me here at the hotel at 7 this evening.
No, thank you, Takin.
Oh, no, now. What's all this about?
To beg pardon, Takin. Though able, Mungba think not wise for one Mr. Loring to present himself at stated address. So, Mungba not lead him there.
And he smiled and bowed and scurried off. It didn't matter. I knew that somehow I would find my way to Chino that night. When evening came, I left the hotel and began a bewildering tour of the countless bazaars. And by asking a direction here and a question there, I came finally to a dark cluster of buildings in a remote section of the Zegyo Bazaar. And there, at the proper door, I stopped.
You are the most welcome one.
I'm Stephen Loring.
Machina waits for you. Kindly enter.
Thank you. It's a bit dark in here, isn't it?
The lights of 1,000 candles are soon to come, Takin. One moment.
I took a few steps on past the servant, and suddenly I felt a pair of arms around me. I struggled to free myself, and then a blinding pain flashed through me, and I felt myself sinking to the floor. Faintly I heard the voices, and only one did I recognize. That of the little Burmese, Manba.
Takin. Takin.
Sheena.
To wake from a dream, not always pleasing, Takin.
Mungba. What happened?
Not to remember, often rewarding.
Yeah. Oh, we're on a boat?
Soon to land at Pugan.
Mungba, last night...
It's never too early
you
for
followed
Halloween.
Me. You saved my life.
Not trouble to serve friend of esteemed friend.
Oh, yes, Campbell. I wonder how I'll find him.
In time, Takin, all questions are answered.
No, you're wrong. Some questions are never answered, and maybe that's just as well.
Spoken like man of wisdom, enlightenment.
Very little of either this morning, Mungba. It is morning, isn't it?
Sun warm and new, like Mungba, has much to learn before it dies.
We all do.
To beg pardon, Takin, some more than others. People of village are in their hearts good people, but wisdom to them new, and fears old.
Yes, so I understand, but what is...
People of village require patience. Leader who shows patience and no fear can bring my people to enlightenment, away from superstitions and ancient religious teachings.
What? Oh, no, you've got the wrong idea. I have not come to lead your people any more than Campbell did. Now, understand, I've come only to get data on the ancient shrines and pagodas nearby and to help your esteemed friend Campbell.
Takin to see many past glories of Fugan, but, beg pardon, villagers of Fugan also there.
Sure can. I'll try my best.
The village, when we reached it, was somewhat inland from the river port of Fugan proper. Wood and bamboo huts lined the four sides of a square that served as a compound. A pack of wild dogs swarmed ahead of us, yapping a signal to the groups of villagers bunched together near a central hut. Mung Ba raised his hand in greeting. After a moment of frozen silence, the villagers turned and ran.
They run from us. Something very wrong.
Not much of a welcome.
Must walk ahead to hut of esteemed friend. Must smile, show no fear. Come, Takin.
I fixed this smile on my face that Mung Ba ordered, and I followed him. If I showed no fear, it was not because I felt none. There wasn't a soul in sight, but my back straightened rigid with the feel of 100 eyes upon it. Mung Ba's steps slowed at the sound of the bell, his head cocked slightly to one side as if to listen. We walked on slowly now until we came to the central hut. There, Mung Ba stopped cold.
No, not so.
What is it?
Good to
What's
see
wrong?
you, horror junkie.
The evil eye, it has come. The evil eye.
You are listening to Eye of Evil, tonight's presentation of Escape. Each week, CBS Radio issues an invitation to go on the prowl in a real squad car. You'll hear the stories of real witnesses in real cases as you join us on CBS Radio's Night Watch. It's unusual, thoroughly factual, and thoroughly exciting. Night Watch, every week on most of these same stations. And now Escape and the second act of Eye of Evil.
That sounded like Dark Shadows for a second.
Mung Ba had disappeared as quickly and completely as the others, fled in terror from a crude sign I could not understand at the door of the central hut. The temple bells tolled ominously as I walked inside, not knowing what to expect. Mung Ba had called this Campbell's hut, but there was no one inside. Only the strange signs and symbols affixed to everything in sight. I wanted to run too, desperately. But something told me that if I were safe at all, I was safer inside the hut. As the silent day wore on, I found many of Campbell's papers. Garbled and strange, they were a chronicle of the steady deterioration of a man. When I finally put them down, it was night.
Takin, Mung Ba falls before you.
Are you hurt?
Only with hurt of shame, Takin.
And get up.
When duly forgiven.
I said get up. And tell me what this madness is all about, these signs. This poppycock about the evil eye.
Mung Ba, upon seeing the signs of evil eye, forgot his enlightenment.
Oh. Did you find out about Campbell?
He is said to be possessed.
And that accounts for these signs?
Signs are charm to evil eye. Take away power. So say my people.
Your people are insane.
Only frightened, Takin.
Look, can't you talk to them, reason with them, tell them they have nothing to fear, that even if they did, these obscene charms of theirs are no answer?
Not Mung Ba. Takin must do.
Me? That's ridiculous.
To say again, Takin must do. The evil eye is on this house. Only Takin can prove this is not so. So say my people.
But how?
Tomorrow, Takin look upon chosen one. If chosen one not die, spell of evil eye broken. If chosen one die, not good.
Oh, of all the idiotic...
To beg pardon. To do this, only way to save esteemed friend and self.
There was no sleep. The Pugan night spent itself slowly, weirdly, washed in moonlight and filled with strange sounds. The paddy birds, the barking deer, the cries of wild cattle, and always the eerie toll of the temple bells. I could feel it building in me, a fusion of strangeness, a fear that was somehow compelling. Drawn to an opening at the back of Campbell's hut, I looked out. And there I saw a moonlight fantasy. In a clearing before an ancient pagoda, a single dancer performed. And then, somehow, I was outside the hut, walking slowly across the compound.
No, Takin, no!
Get out of my way.
Hear me. Here, Mungba. You must not answer the call of the temple bells.
Stand aside.
To follow is to die.
I tried to free myself from Mungba's grip. I could not. And if the dancer danced on, and if the bells tolled longer, I don't know. Because suddenly the night was black and silent, and the madness was gone.
I swear that sounds like Dark Shadows soundtrack. No, it's not.
You know, each night I don't know how I got to bed, yet every morning I find you here.
Takin, sleep well?
Like I was hit on the head. Mungba, was there really a dancer out there last night?
Mungba, fix tea. Takin, feel fine.
Was there a dancer?
What has gone before belongs to the night, no longer to us.
I don't understand your bloody country, Mungba, or even you.
I am pleased to be a simple man.
You've saved my life twice now. Why?
Takin, Mungba, friend. Life of friend, more precious than own life.
Mungba, what happened to me last night? What happened to Campbell before I got here?
Mungba, not know. Fix tea. Takin, feel fine.
Everything here plays on your feelings. Your emotions, the cries of the animals, the tolling of the bells, the sight of ruin after ruin, pagodas and shrines in crumbling decay. Is that it? Does the very decay here hold the power to degenerate a man? Oh, temple bell again.
Hour has come, Takin.
What hour?
Before bright sun and my people, Takin, look upon chosen one. Only way to save esteemed friend and self.
Outside, the villagers lined the compound. Some wore coverings over their entire heads. Others, with the same fear that I might possess the evil eye, hid their faces from my view. All of them, so far as I could see, wore signs and symbols as charms against my spell. It was madness. All of it. Madness.
Takin, ready?
Just tell me what I'm supposed to do.
Chosen one will walk to center of clearing. Yeah. Temple bells will stop. That becomes signal for Takin to look for first time upon chosen one.
When the bells stop. Yes, all right. Now, let's get on with it.
Kindly turn back, Takin.
All right. I'll have to make quick work of it.
Takin, have nothing to fear.
My heart very nearly stopped with the bells. Slowly, I turned around to look upon the chosen one. He stood proudly straight, smiling confidently at me. My little Burmese friend, Mungba. And I looked and smiled and watched him fall. Mungba! Mungba! Mungba, how in heaven's name?
Not Talking, esteemed friend. Campbell, he...
Campbell? Poor, wretched devil. Mung Ba was dead, and I was alone. I started to lift him to carry him back to the hut, and then I saw the thin arrow in his back, a blowgun. I looked up in the direction the arrow must have come. There it was, the ancient pagoda where the dancer had been the night before. It was also the direction of the temple bells. And this time, without anyone to stop me, I walked into the ruins of the temple. Campbell! Campbell! Where are you? I'll find you. You know, Campbell?
What
Campbell?
tiny pieces, D?
Over here, Lord.
They're all part of the architecture.
I can't see you. In these shadows.
I'm here in the dark, and you can hear me. If your eyes fail you, follow your ears.
Why did you do it, Campbell? He worshipped you. Why did you have to kill Mung Ba?
Mung Ba?
Cowering in the darkness won't help you, Campbell. There's a window down there. Why don't you stand proudly in the bright sunlight, as he did?
Mung Ba died proudly? How very gallant.
You're mad. Come here. Here to the light. Here now. Stand there and tell... Campbell.
Are we at the window now, Loring?
Campbell. You're blind.
Do I stand proudly in the bright sunlight?
What happened to you? Who did this to you?
I shall fail.
They're little studs
my
that go
eyes see
on
no beauty.
little blacks that make...
Campbell.
I'll show you a
didn't
close-up.
understand in your letter. None of us understood. Tell me, who did that to your eyes?
Where one sees no beauty, no good, one sees evil. And once the eye becomes absorbed with evil, it is said, the eye must no longer see.
Campbell, listen to me. We'll go now, you and I. I'll take you home.
I am home.
No. We'll go to England. Now, together. Do you understand me?
You don't understand me. I want to be here. I must be here.
But why? Why? This place is strange and terrifying.
And beautiful, Loring. But you must go before you see its beauty, before it draws you and holds you and never lets you go.
There is no beauty here.
Have you not seen our beauty, Stephen Loring?
Gina!
Have you not watched the dancer by moonlight and felt compelled to follow her?
Go, Loring, go now. It's not too late for you.
Campbell, did she do this to you?
Go, Loring, while you can.
You
Gotcha,
were
Connie.
supposed to
Enjoy the
die
movie.
in Mandalay, Stephen.
You tried to have me killed.
My people are happy as they are.
Believe me, Loring, and go
I'll be here
now.
building.
Too late is very soon upon you.
I'll go. I've had my fill of this madness.
Is it madness? Are you sure? You must be very sure. It might be madness. Or again, it might be a feeling, a mystic something that has been known to take hold of men.
I ran, hard and fast, from the ancient pagoda, away from China, away from Campbell. Through the compound I ran, toward Pugan and the river, and freedom. And when the river was in sight, my legs became heavy, leaden. And in my mind, I knew I would run as far
Rank
into the
5.
world as I
All
could.
done.
But I also knew that someday I would have to come back.
Under the direction of Norman Macdonnell, Escape has brought you Eye of Evil by Kathleen Heights, starring John Daner. Featured in the cast were Lynn Allen and Jack Crucian, with Parley Bear and Ben Wright. Your announcer, George Walsh. The special music for Escape is composed and conducted by Leith Stevens. Next week.
You are adrift in a small boat somewhere in the English Channel, the fog lying heavy on the greasy moving waters, while in the dark ahead of you, moving through the war-torn night towards you, is a threat of death from which there may be no escape.
So listen next week when Escape brings you David Devine's story, Flood on the Goodwins.
Okay, that's that episode. That was okay. That wasn't as good as the zombie apocalypse one. I just finished bag 5. Looks like we're going to build an organ next, I think. The organ is going to be built next. As I showed you all the levers, look at these big wheels. These are big, like, that's rubber, like big rubber wheels with all these little levers down here. And I mean, it's very intricate for this big drop that's going to happen. But yeah, I'm on to the next bag 6. So I'm going to open these up, and I'd like to thank the new people who came in here. Good to see Jedi Bricks again. Who else came in here? Paul is in here. Speedrunner, Lizzie. There was somebody else who came in. No, am I wrong? Okay. Maybe not. I'm just looking. Thank you, Chris. Hit that like button. Yes. Plenty of builds on this channel. And if you've never been introduced to old-time radio shows before and you're watching me build Legos, I try to play some really cool ones that are either haunted or in theme or action. Like the next one. I'm going to play another one while I build and open up these bags. Looks like time for the organ to be built. And this is getting tall already, man. I know I'm on bag 6, and there's a total of 18 bags. So I'm a third of the way there, and then it's going to come up. Then it's going to be pretty tall. And then it's going to be cool to see the elevator drop the people that are up at the top down to the bottom. So yes, I am on bag 6. Let me go to escape. Let me do the Deep Sea Adventure. I'm just going to play it, Sean. They'll tell you the title as I play it. Let's see how good this one. Going to be some kind of deep sea adventure. I don't remember this, but once I listen to it, we shall see. Deep sea adventure, escape. So here we go. Enjoy it as I start to build on the organ.
Tired of the everyday grind?
Sure.
Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure?
I mean, who doesn't?
Want to get away from it all?
We all do.
We offer you Escape.
Escape. Transcribed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
You are groping your way through the belly of a sunken ship, a fortune and pearls secured to your belt. While above on the ship that tends you, working the pump that sends air to you, is an adversary whose plans include the taking of your pearls and your life.
Listen now as Escape brings you John Russell's story, The Adversary.
It was at dusk and on an ebb tide that the purling schooner Fancy Free came smartly up into the wind and dropped anchor in the harbor of Thursday Island. And it was after dark when her master came ashore and paid off his Kanaka crew. He was a big man, this captain, with a crop of black hair, a smooth, long jaw, and gray eyes. As he went swinging along the waterfront, the crowd parted right and left before him. Now, news of any arrival travels fast on Thursday Island, and with such a figure as this, the conversation at the Portuguese bar had been going on for some time.
One thing I know for certain, he's got the trimmest lugger in these parts. And where's he from, Smike? First time I ever laid eye on him or his boat was this evening.
If he was from these parts, Portuguese, Captain Smike would know him.
Well, wherever he from, he be like the rest of you, up to no good. Oh, you've no use for pearlers, have you, Portuguese? You're all cut from the same cloth. Thieves, drunkards, brawlers, and worse. Ah, you fat devil. You're no better than the worst of us. I know and can account for my shortcomings. It is not so with you, who make a living like so many sea gypsies.
What's he saying, Captain Smike?
Alf, drink your drink.
I only wanted to know.
The stranger, Smike. He's another pearler, perhaps. Yes, he could be. I'll find out more when he comes for his rum. Pour me a drink, Portuguese. And one for little Alfie. A toast to Thursday Island.
Thursday Island.
Where the only honest man to grace its shores came by land. You there, at the bar.
Cool. Look at the size of that one.
My name is Smike, if it's me you're talking to.
My name is Weatherby, John Weatherby. I'm master of the Fancy Free.
That's the lugger in the harbor, ain't it?
And so, Captain Weatherby?
I've come to spend some time with you.
Captain Weatherby, what is your pleasure?
But first I'll have my say.
That's your right.
A moment back you drank a toast to which I take exception.
That's so.
You said the only honest man on Thursday Island came by land.
I did.
Now then, I don't mind what you call yourselves to yourselves. As long as I'm in your midst, anyone that says I'm not honest and can't prove it, I'll knock the 7 bells out of him.
Since you're a stranger here, Weatherby, I'll tell you something. I'm senior captain on Thursday Island, and I say what I wish when I wish. And it's like I said before. The only honest man on Thursday Island came by...
Lummy, he never even got it said.
You, little fella, go give your friend a hand. He'll need help for a while yet.
My name is Alf, and I ain't finished my drink.
Go.
Yes, sir.
Now, I'll have that rum.
Right away, Captain Weatherby.
Now, on Thursday Island, there was no prying into a neighbor's affairs unless one was prepared to push the inquiry with a knife. And so it was that nobody questioned where Weatherby came from, or his pearling license, or the motley crew he picked to replace the skilled Kanaka boys he'd let go.
That's John Daner.
His new cook was
Classic.
Chinese, his head diver a Manila man, and his mate a giant North African who went by the name of Buttermilk. But questions or no, as the months passed, a legend was growing about Captain Weatherby.
Oh, he'd chase you right across the Pacific to pay you tuppence he might owe you. That's his sort.
You never had tuppence in your life, Alfie. 5 nights ago, he was in here, and he drank 5 hard cases under the table. And when they left, he squared the whole bill himself.
Honest Weatherby, they call him.
Honest Weatherby, he's up to something. They say nothing but good about him.
You're right as rain, Portuguese. Last month he stayed in quarantine, voluntary-like, just because of that island steamer and the cholera scare.
Then paid his crew their monthly wages anyway.
His crew? A good master wouldn't allow one of them to set foot on deck.
Well, they ain't been exactly trained by the Queen's Navy.
What I want to know is this.
Why's he got the fastest lugger in these parts manned by that collection of trash?
You still hold that blow against Weatherby, Smike. But he's all right.
Harbour authorities, pilots, and other masters, and the whole lot. They all like
I
him.
don't. Listen. That will be the Brisbane steam.
It's trying to get her bloody passengers back aboard. She sails at midnight.
Australia. I wish I was going. I'd like to see Australia again.
Yeah, she'd probably like to see you, too.
Oh,
to
now,
see
Captain.
Australia again. Like as not, it's her pilot the Fernshaw's blowing for.
Pilot?
Ever since she put in here, Weatherby and that ship's pilot been trying to drink the island dry.
I wonder where he is now.
Down at the docks, like as not. Pouring his pilot friend aboard the steamer. Another rum, Portuguese. And another for little Alfie.
And in truth, Weatherby was down at the docks, his coat turned up against the squalls that were blowing wet from the ocean. He was standing in the shadows by some packing crates, watching from a distance the yellow cargo flares that showed the loading of the Fernshaw was still in progress. Then, just as Captain Weatherby was turning away, another figure slipped from the shadow and moved to confront him.
Captain Weatherby?
Yes?
I'll take halvers, if you please, Captain Weatherby.
What?
I said halvers. Now, don't move, Captain. I've got you well covered, and I'm not afraid to shoot.
Deacon! After all these years, the Deacon. Bless me if I didn't think I'd done you in.
I should have died, but I didn't. No thanks to you.
And what are you doing on Thursday Island?
I dropped in from Samurai, meaning to catch the Brisbane steamer.
Huh?
I've been doing some diving up the way, but I'm only a fair diver, and my luck's been poor. Until tonight.
Until tonight? And why the change, little beetle?
Because I chanced to see you, my old friend. And I was strolling along the front, and I made inquiries, and I heard what they call you in these parts. Honest Weatherby.
Why, you wasp. You have it in mind to blow on me?
To tell what I know of you and have you go to jail? Not a chance. That would do me no good.
What then?
I just want half of your new speculation. Your latest deviltry.
What makes you think I've got a plan, Deacon?
Oh, do you think I couldn't smell it out? I know your methods too well. Fine public character, no suspicion, alibi all complete. Yes, and I also know you sneaked your crew out of town tonight. Your lugger's ready to slip cable this minute. And most important, I happen to know what the Fernshaw's carrying aboard her this trip.
Oh, the devil you do.
The season sweep of pearls, 20,000 pounds worth.
Suppose I was after those pearls. How would I get them?
That's for you to do, and me to profit by.
Oh, so you'll let me do the dirty, and then take ours,
That's
eh?
right, Captain Honest Weatherby.
Blast me if it isn't hard to know whether you're with me or against me, Deacon.
Thus saith the Lord, an adversary there shall be, and he shall bring down thy strength from thee.
All right. All right then, Deacon, I'll put up with your blackmail and piracy. And I'll take you on as an adversary. And you'll be part of the enterprise.
Good. And now, Weatherby, tell me this. How are you to get the pearls that are aboard the steamer there? Eh?
I shall have to dive for them, Deacon.
Dive for them?
And like it or not, since you've declared yourself in, you'll be a party to it.
You mean you're going to sink her?
That's exactly what I mean, Deacon.
On to the next level.
Within 2 hours of sailing, the Fernshaw will be resting on the bottom of the passage.
You are listening to The Adversary, tonight's presentation of Escape. It's back again. It's Saturday daytimes on CBS Radio. It's Romance. Romance every Saturday on most of these same stations, bringing you the world's great love stories. Some new, some old, all fascinating adventures in listening. The story this Saturday, Daphne du Maurier's celebrated novel, Frenchman's Creek, dramatizes the love of a noblewoman for a pirate. And now, Escape and the second act of The Adversary.
Within half an hour, the little lugger Fancy Free was standing out to sea.
Printed pieces.
Her master, Captain Weatherby, and a small and shivering passenger sheltered in the lee of the deckhouse. The deacon had wanted in on the profit, but he had hardly counted on mass murder as a means to it. One man's death he might have countenanced, but to murder a steamer was something else.
Weatherby, you can't do it. You can't drown a whole ship's company.
Did you ever hear the Volga, the Kate, or the Mecca? Well, they all fell a trifle off the track. Their bottoms were ripped out on Tribulation Shoal. Now, the same thing might happen to the Fern Shoal.
But how? There's a light on Tribulation Shoal.
So there is. It's a fourth-order fixed dioptric, unattended. Now, suppose that light were moved.
But like you say, it's fixed. And besides, the keeper lives only a mile away on Horn Island. You couldn't move it.
Suppose a man were to land on the lee of Tribulation Shoal and with a canvas blanket the light to westward. Now, if that same man were to take a discarded lightship lantern that he might have aboard his lugger, and after anchoring some half-mile away show this light at his masthead, what then?
What? You're mad, Weatherby.
You begin to see the possibility for error?
You really are going to wreck her.
Well, I am, Deacon.
You wouldn't. You dared.
Captain!
What is it?
Big surf ahead. Can't hear.
How far?
Close, very close.
Deacon, get below. We're at Tribulation Shoal, and there's man's work to be done yet tonight.
Weatherby.
Get below. Buttermilk!
Captain?
How close now to the surf?
200-300 yards.
Have the helm put over, Buttermilk, and drop a hook. We're going ashore to have a look at Tribulation Light.
Now, it is a fact that no one knows or is ever likely to know the actual explanation for the wreck of the Brisbane steamer, which left Thursday Island and came to grief some 2 hours later on Tribulation Shoals. But the records declare that she went clean off her course, and a coral reef laid her open as neatly as a butcher's knife lays open a carcass. She sank within 5 minutes. The next morning, as the dawn spread an iridescence over those waters, Captain Weatherby anchored his lugger between the tips of the two sunken masts.
All right, Buttermilk. Get my equipment ready.
I get diving suit.
Well, Deacon, you'll note for yourself there's not a trace of evidence. We've not been spied. The lantern we used is sunk, the canvas destroyed, and Tribulation Light as it was before.
You're evil, Weatherby. Pure evil.
Deacon, is there so much difference between a lot and a little? Come now, Deacon, cheer up. Here we are, and there are the pearls. 20,000 pounds worth of them, just oversized.
No, I don't want any part of them.
And within 3 hours, I'll be back out on the pearling banks about my business, never having heard of the wreck.
Captain, you strap diving shoes.
Next week, or any time I choose, I'll be walking the streets of Thursday near the news. And who will be as surprised as Captain Weatherby, that hard-working man. Honest Weatherby, with a fortune in his belt to dispose at leisure.
All ready now. Put helmet, Captain.
Yes, Deacon. I've not a problem in the world. Except you.
Me? Why me?
You are evidence. This stinking crew doesn't matter. I've kept them too befuddled to know what's happening, but you could be Queen's evidence. I'm not forgetting you.
Hey, but, now, listen to me, Weatherby. I want no part of...
What kind of an adversary do you call yourself, Deacon? I'd hope for some sport from you. Now, come below, Deacon. Now's the time to change your luck. Come below once and for all.
No, I won't go down with you, not down there.
Well, you're a diver, aren't you, Deacon?
I can't. Not in that ship. I can't.
Oh, blast it, Deacon. I thought at least you'd be amusing. Very well. When I come back, I'll knock your silly head in.
Captain, you want helmet?
One thing, Buttermilk.
Yes, Captain.
You see that fellow, white man? Maybe he wants to go below. Good. You give him other suit.
Yes, Captain.
Maybe he touch pump or raise fuss. You knock 7 bells out of him. Otherwise, no order. You savvy?
I savvy, Captain.
Good. Now help me with the helmet.
Yes. Put on now. You okay now, Captain?
You murderer! You filthy murderer, Weatherby!
Captain, no here. Not in helmet. You white fella, move away. Captain, go waterside now. You fella pump plenty good. Captain need much air.
Listen, I've got to talk to you.
Captain say you no good.
Look, I'll give you money. Anything, just cut those lines.
Captain die we cut line. No bleed down there.
Yes, that's right, he'll die, but I'll pay you more than he will.
Line stop moving. Captain on ship now.
What about it? You want money?
No.
What do you want? Then I'll give you anything you say. Just cut those lines and leave him.
White fella no good.
But don't you understand? He'll kill me after he gets those pearls and comes up.
Captain say no order.
Huh? You got to listen to me.
Go away.
Look, put me in the longboat. Turn me loose. I'll take me chance in the open sea rather than with him. I can't stay here.
You stay.
No, I won't. I won't just wait here like a fool for him to come up and kill me when he pleases. I'll go down below there with him first and fight it out.
You want out of dive suit? Go waterside.
I don't know. I don't know. I've got to think.
You nothing. Black fella boy, pump good. Captain need plenty air down there.
And down below, everything went exceeding fine for Captain Weatherby. In a matter of 20 minutes or less, he had found the strongbox, broken it open with an iron bar, filled his canvas sack with pearls, and was making his way back towards the companionway through which he had entered the ship. The light was getting stronger as he came back. Then suddenly he stopped. A dim form was facing him. A man as tall as himself, clad in a diving rig. And Weatherby was smiling as he thought,
Same type helmet as mine. Same shape. Only other like that is on Fancy Free. What? By all that's holy. Oh, it's the Deacon. So you come down, Deacon, after all. So you're going to dispute the prize with me, eh? Claim your vengeance. All right. I was going to kill you one way or the other. One crack on your helmet with this bar, Deacon, and your eardrums are gone. You'll be just an unfortunate diver who drowned while working. But at least you proved an adversary worth his salt. Now, I'm moving at you, Deacon. Good. You move too, eh? We're going to fight it hard. Good. A little closer. That's it. Now I'll split your skull.
Oh, no.
Oh, set out another bottle of rum, Portuguese. I'm cold clean through to the marrow.
5 days out there at the wreck, and no thanks from anybody.
Not even from the man you brought back? Him? He's crazy as a tick.
Calls himself a deacon, a man of the cloth. Look at him over there, sitting alone at the table, talking to himself. Scripture,
But
it
what
is.
of Captain Weatherby? They said you found his lugger anchored over the wreck. There was 2 people could have told us that story. One was a deacon, as he calls himself, and the other a great hulk of a West African, and he went down after Weatherby never come up. You need gear to go that deep.
The bleeding crew couldn't manage a word between the lot of them.
Hold out.
He
Comes the
hideth his
deacon.
wrong in his heart. Let him be snared in his own pit. In the net which he hid is his own foot taken. Lord, break thou the arm of the wicked and the evil man.
Oh, poor fool. He don't know what he's about. Smite, tell me, What of Weatherby? They found him down the wreck. The pearls all in a great sack tied to his diving belt. And he was drowned. Drowned? His suit had been cut to ribbons by shards of broken glass. Yeah, he was drowned for fair, right inside of his suit.
But the glass, Smythe. What was the glass?
Oh, a broken mirror.
A mirror?
It served as a facing for the saloon door leading out of the companionway.
It's like he stopped to take a look at himself. Just that one last time.
Well, a toast to Captain
See you,
Weatherby.
sweet indigo.
Rest his soul. The only honest man who came by sea to Thursday Island.
Under the direction of Norman MacDonald, Escape has brought you The Adversary by John Russell, specially transcribed for radio by Mr. MacDonald. Featured in the cast were Lawrence Dobkin, John Daner, and Ben Wright, with Alec Harford, Charlie Lung, and Barney Phillips. The narrator was Vic Perrin. Your announcer, George Walsh. The special music for Escape is composed and conducted by Leith Stevens. Next week.
You are running through the alleys of a Mediterranean village, the blackness of the Italian night confusing you, while somewhere in the dark behind you, coming closer as they search for you, are a man and a beautiful woman who mean to take your life.
So listen next week when Escape brings you Kathleen Height's story, An Ordinary Man. This Sunday night, Lionel Barrymore opens the doors to the Hall of Fame, turning the spotlight on another little-known drama of American history, whose workings were instrumental in shaping the nation's destiny. Empire builders, dreamers with high ideals, men and women whose pioneering made history. These are the heroes and heroines of the Hall of Fame, starring Lionel Barrymore this Sunday night on most of these same stations. The top dramatic show of them all, the Lux Radio Theater, is heard Monday night on the CBS Radio Network.
Okay, there we go. Deep Sea Adventure. How was that? Listen, yeah, I got all second level built, coming together. I like this front facade here on the inside that is going to be above, I think above the organ, if I'm not mistaken. But that is what I'm building right now, the organ. Almost done, and then I will be on to bag 7. So yeah, very cool. Harry's going to feed the cat. Sounds good. Let's see. But I use my skull. Very cool. Anyways, yeah, building the lots of intricate. Like, look at all these little parts for the organ. Putting all those together, and then the 2 level there underneath. I mean, it's really pretty cool. Pretty cool. Anyways, let's do another escape as I keep going. It's 8 o'clock here on the East Coast, and yeah, let me see. I'm untouchable. Let's play this episode of Escape. Well, you know what? There's a Jack Webb. Let's see. No, I'm going to do this one. Okay, hopefully you enjoy this one. I'm going to keep going. Finish this organ.
Tired of the everyday grind? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure?
Want to get away from it all? We offer you escape.
Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
You are walking the streets of an Indian city. Terrifying, sweltering streets. While the man you fear has already made his mark on you. A mark from which there can be no escape.
So listen now as Escape brings you James Leal Henderson's frightening story, The Untouchable.
It was a shame about Rydell's having to go to India. It was a shame about the leprosy, too. He was a little man, balding, pale, and in his early 40s. He was fussy and precise, and an absolute fanatic about cleanliness. So you can see he was the last man on earth to send to India, even with his wife Prudence along to take care of him. Rydell and I were thrown together on a job. We met for the first time in the Hotel Imperial in Delhi. He was a chemical engineer, and I'm a construction engineer. We'd been hired separately to look over the possibilities of a chemical plant in India. It was a job I needed badly. I bounced around the globe a lot. Asia's not too bad when you get to know it, but Rydell, well, the poor guy was in misery. He was right out of a Cleveland suburb and terrorized by a germ.
Cleveland suburb?
We had been in New Delhi a week, and I couldn't move Henry Rydell out of the hotel, even for business. He'd walled himself off and just sat brooding about India's squalor beyond the window. I'd worked my head off for the two of us, getting things set up, and then it came time to go on tour around the country and look for a plant site. I went to his hotel room one afternoon. He was standing at the open window, looking down at the street.
Hello, Fred. Back, eh?
Uh-huh. I've been in 14 government offices. Count 'em, Henry, 14. But we're squared away now. Oh, boy, I'm knocked out.
I'm sorry, but I just didn't feel up to going with you today.
Yeah, I know. How do you feel? Take all your pills?
Yes. But I'd feel a lot better if that snake charmer would stop playing that screechy pipe. It's been driving me crazy. And those cobras being so near.
And believe me, Henry, those are the sickest snakes on earth. They wouldn't bite on invitation. Well, why don't you just tell him to go away?
He's filthy, Fred. I wouldn't go near him.
He doesn't want to dance with you. He wants some money. Well, I'll get rid of him. Hey, Snake Walla. Here you are, Walla. Nice fat rupee. Now, no more music. You understand? No more. Go.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Now we can talk, Henry. First, how about a drink?
Sure, Fred. I'll have one with you. Scotch?
Yeah, fine.
Fred, I'm afraid I've only got one glass left that's been put in boiling water.
Just give me a glass, Henry. Any glass will do.
You should be more careful. A British fellow was telling me yesterday...
The whiskey will kill the germs, if any. Look, Henry, I know you've asked the company for a replacement, but we haven't got time to wait for him. You're going to have to go on this trip yourself. You'll have to. We made an agreement.
I know, but nobody told me it was going to be like this. Nothing safe to eat. Water buffalo. Who ever heard of eating a water buffalo? And the vegetables will kill you if you touch them.
Let's not go through that again.
Oh, hello, Fred. How are you? You look tired.
Oh, hello, Prue. I am tired. Rough day. Yeah, that's a nice piece of ivory.
Isn't it? Buddha. It's very old. I wanted you and Henry to see it. I bought it down in the bazaar.
How can you stand it down in those dirty bazaars?
Oh,
all that
Henry,
noise?
don't be silly. Well, if you two are going...
I'd like you to stay for a minute, if you will, Prue. I think you ought to hear this. I just told Henry that we can't stall on this trip one day longer, so I've bought 2 tickets for tonight's flight to Bombay. That's going to be our first stop.
Tonight?
Yeah.
I won't do it, Fred. I just can't. Jumping around this terrible country, you can never tell what'll happen to you. And what about Prudence? No, Fred, you've got to wait. I just don't feel well at
We've
all.
got a job to do, Henry. Now, pull yourself together. Prue can't come. Accommodations are tight, and we'll probably have to travel around the sticks. It's fairly primitive sometimes, and it just won't work with her along. I'll take good care of you. We'll boil everything. We'll boil the whiskey if you insist.
How long do you think it'll be, Fred?
Oh, 3 weeks maybe, no longer.
3 weeks?
Henry, it'll be all over soon, and we'll be back home.
Yes, but Prudence, I just don't feel right about this. I'm afraid.
You must go, Henry. Fred's depending on you. We'll be ready, Fred. I'll pack for him.
Well, we got off all right with Prudence pushing from behind. We flew down from Delhi and landed at the Bombay airport at first light. Then we climbed aboard the airline bus for the long ride through town to the Taj Mahal Hotel. Good Lord, it was hot. Vicious. The air was pure steam. You couldn't breathe. And on the walks, the homeless were beginning to stir. Thousands of them. No place to live, no place to go. The human wreckage of Asia.
It is so hot.
Bad. It always is just before the monsoon. Well, we'll get us an air-conditioned room, Henry, a cool bath, nice mango for breakfast.
Fresh fruit? Oh, not for me.
Taj is a good hotel, Henry, and Bombay is pretty modern, even with all the poor you've been seeing on the streets. You'll see. Well, come on. This is it. It's a nice, cool bath waiting.
One over there, baby.
Fred, look.
What? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I have to stop because, man, I tell you what, that's probably the coolest organ I've built so far. Well, let's see, how many have I built? That is really good detail. I'm going to try to show a little bit closer, but look at the detail on that, man, the pipe organ. I mean, I think that is so freaking cool. That is awesome. I mean, I really love that. The things you can do with Lego pieces is just unbelievable. So there's the organ. Boom, Phantom of the Opera. Very, very cool. So I got through bag 6, 5, 6, and it's coming together pretty good. It's looking really, really good. Let's see. Lizzie says 2018 during short drought, there were lined up around house 7 feet carpet snakes. Oh, you're talking about the snakes not liking the snakes. Gotcha. Cat's happy, so everybody is happy. Yes. Thank you, Connie. Appreciate that. So yeah, I love that organ. Probably one of the single coolest pieces of furniture I think I've built. That is really, really cool. Okay, back to Escape.
Poor devil.
Fred, look at him. What is it? I've never seen anything so horrible. His hands, look.
He's a leper, Henry. Come on, he won't hurt you.
Fred, don't let him touch me. Don't let him.
Come on, Henry, I'm hot and I want to get out of here. Now, come on.
Bakshish for a sick man, Saab. Saab. 1 rupee, Saab.
Here. Take it easy, Willa. All right, Henry, let's go.
Oh, Fred, his hands. They were horrible.
After seeing the leper, it was 3 days before I could drag Henry Rydell out of the hotel for a business meeting in town, and when I did, he clung to me like a little boy lost. But we did make some headway in our plans, and I felt more cheerful after the meeting. I talked Henry into having dinner in a Chinese restaurant a few blocks from the hotel. The place was spotless. The food was good. Henry stoked up on rice, and I almost caught him smiling once. Then afterwards, we sauntered back to the hotel through the dark, stifling night. Well, that's the first decent meal I've seen you eat.
More
in India,
lots of
Henry.
little pieces.
It was good. I'd like to eat there again tomorrow, Fred.
Sure, why not?
But of course you never can tell. The bugs might be anywhere. I'll take some tablets when we get back to the room.
Yeah, you do that. Now, you outwit those bugs every time, Henry.
Oh, say, look. Here's a store Prudence would like, nothing but ivory. Fred, wait a moment, will you? I want to look.
Master Bakshi for a sick man.
I looked back. That same poor devil of a leper had moved out of the darkened doorway of the store and was pawing Henry.
No, get away from me. Don't touch me. Please, no, leave me alone. Don't spread his hands. They've touched me.
Here, voila, pick him up.
For heaven's sake, get away, get away.
Thank you, Master.
He touched me, Fred, right on my skin. He touched.
Come out of it, Henry. Nothing's going to happen.
Sir, look. See? Fire, no hurt.
Oh.
Don't look. Come on, let's get back to the hotel.
Fred, his hands. He can hold the flame to them and feel nothing. And he touched me with them. He rubbed me on the bare skin, on my hands and here, on my arm and wrist. I felt it, Fred. I felt it rubbing into me.
Henry, believe me, you don't catch leprosy that way. Now, nothing's going to happen to you.
I've got to wash. Right now, I've got to wash.
Henry washed all right, thoroughly. He washed for half an hour. This I didn't mind, but as I turned and twisted in bed through the hot blanketing night, I could hear him. Every few minutes, washing. He kept it up day and night. Wherever we were, washing harder and harder. He scrubbed those places on his arm and wrist with a brush until the skin was rubbed raw. For 2 days it went on like that, but I let it pass. I didn't say anything. I needed him for the tour, good or bad. Gosh knows he wasn't worth much in that state, but he was docile. Nice and docile. Nothing seemed to bother him so long as he had a place to wash. Henry, you're clean enough for tonight. You've got to grab some sleep.
If I keep at this thing, maybe I can prevent infection.
If you keep at it, you'll wear your arm away.
No, I figure if I just scrub down in there below the skin, I'm sure to kill it.
Henry, we're pretty well finished up here in Bombay. Tomorrow I thought we'd shove off for Bangalore and look around.
Sure, Fred, that's fine by me. Anything you say.
A day there ought to be enough, and then Madras. The way things are shaping up, Madras may be the spot for the plant. Henry, Madras. I thought we'd stick around Madras about a week.
Okay, Fred.
I thought you might wire Prudence and ask her to meet us there.
No. No, I don't want to do that. Not now.
Why, Henry?
There's no point in it. I'd rather she stayed in Delhi until this tour is finished. She's used to it there, Fred, and there's no telling what you and I will be doing.
Why, Henry?
I don't want Prudence to come. That's final.
All right. Just forget it. But, Henry, listen to me. Please. Stop worrying about that leper touching you. Nothing's going to happen.
We will return to Escape in just a moment. But first, tomorrow night, the Lux Radio Theater brings Joan Fontaine and Charlton Heston to its microphones, co-starring in The President's Lady. It's the true scandal-ridden story of President Andrew Jackson and his wife Rachel, with Joan in the title role and Charlton as Old Hickory. That's on the Lux Radio Theater. The same night, CBS Radio stars Mr. John Hodiak in Suspense's production of Hellfire. Yes, tomorrow night on most of these same CBS radio stations. And now, back to Escape.
Madras, South India. A warm, wet wind off the Bay of Bengal. The ceaseless rustle of the cocoa palms outside our hotel. And the inevitable snake charmer with his toneless pipe. I worked hard in Madras. Maybe too hard. I didn't see that Henry was cracking up. Badly. But don't get me wrong. He made good sense. And on the business side was perfect. When I said yes, he said yes. Anything I didn't like, Henry didn't like it either. Ideal for me. He had the big reputation from the States which the Indian people wanted, and I ran the show. I was hoping to nail down a deal right there. A day or two more, and we'd be all set. And it had been a long time. A long, long time. But, as I said, poor old Henry. Coming apart. One afternoon, I was going over plans in our room.
Yes, I understand.
Then, with the plant here, we'd have to put in a railroad siding leading somewhere through just about in here.
Oh.
There's room for a landing strip just to... Henry, what's the matter?
Nothing.
What the devil are you up to? What are you doing to your arm?
It's all right, Fred. Nothing. Go ahead with the plan.
No, I want to see. You've been pinching yourself. Henry, for heaven's sake.
I want to make sure that I can feel it when I pinch myself. Sometimes I don't. Fred.
Henry, now, sit still and listen to me and try to get this through your head. You haven't got leprosy.
Oh, yes.
No, there's not a chance in a million or even 10 million.
Guy's
you've got
obsessed
it.
that he has
I
leprosy.
know the leper touched you, but the disease is just not that contagious. If he rubbed you all night with his hands, you wouldn't get it. Now, take my word for it.
There are exceptions, Fred.
Yeah, maybe, but I doubt it. And you're not one of them anyway. Now, Henry, believe me. There's not a chance in the world of your having leprosy. And if you did, you wouldn't know it for years.
But I catch things easily, Fred. I always have. And when I pinch myself here on the wrist real hard, I don't
Henry.
feel a thing. Honestly. Up here, I can feel it on my arm, so there must be something.
I'm going to get a doctor.
No, Fred. No, please. He might send me to one of those awful colonies here in India. I might never get home.
I'm going to get a doctor.
No. Fred, I believe you now. I don't have it. I couldn't have it. You don't have to get a doctor.
Poor guy. I gotta go find
Okay,
peace.
Henry. We'll let it go for now. But forget leprosy, will you? Just hang on to yourself for a few more days until we get this deal set, and then everything will be fine. Did I say everything will be fine? Just how wrong can you be? I wired Prudence in Delhi and told her to hustle down to Madras on the first available plane, and meanwhile I just played for time, but there wasn't enough of it. Then one night I woke up when I heard Henry moving about during the quiet hours of the early morning. His bed lamp was on. What is it, Henry? Henry, what's the matter?
Oh, Fred. I have it. I'm diseased. I have leprosy.
No. Go back to bed, Henry. Please. We'll talk about it in the morning. Everything will seem different in the daylight. Come on.
It won't help to talk
I'll
about
be
it.
right back.
I've got it, that's all. I'm unclean. Fred, I'm a leper. A leper.
Please. Henry, try to sleep.
Oh, Fred, I can prove it. Watch. See, I don't feel a thing. The flesh is dead.
No, stop that. Stop it, Henry.
I'm diseased. A leper. An untouchable.
No, you're not. You're Henry Rydell, an American businessman from Cleveland, Ohio, with an obsession. You're all right, Henry.
Here, you do it, Fred.
No.
Here, stick me with this. Anywhere on my lower arm. I'll show you I don't feel it.
Henry, stop it.
I know I'm diseased, but I won't touch you, Fred. Just stick me with the pin as deep as you want. Do it, Fred. Do it. Go on. Stick me, stick me, stick me, stick me.
Stop it!
I'm a leper.
Yeah. I guess that's right. Will you try to sleep now, Henry?
Yes. I'll sleep. I'm tired. But Fred, you won't tell anyone about this. I mean a doctor or anyone like that.
No, of course not.
It's got to be our secret, Fred. Not even Prudence can know. You see, they might try to send me to one of those colonies, and I couldn't stand it, Fred. Fred, you promise?
I promise, Henry. Now go to sleep.
When this deal is signed for you, I'll just disappear, Fred. I don't know where yet, but nobody will ever hear from me again.
I got up early the next morning to meet the plane from Delhi. Prudence was coming. Thank heaven she was coming. Henry was still sleeping like a stone. I left quietly, praying to get back with Prudence before he waked. I was scared, and, well, I didn't like myself much. I had dragged Henry into this appalling mess and then let it get out of hand because I wanted that contract. I wanted to make a buck. On the way from the airport to the hotel, I tried to break Prudence in gently, but the simple fact that I and not Henry had wired her was enough to convince her that something was seriously wrong.
Fred, please, you can stop beating about the bush. Just tell me what's wrong with Henry.
Well, Prudence, he has an obsession. He thinks he has leprosy.
Oh, no.
He's not in his right mind, Prudence. You got to be prepared for that.
But why didn't you send for me sooner, Fred? Why didn't you?
Well, he didn't want me to.
He doesn't want to see me. But he's needed me so much, all our lives. All I've ever done is take care of Henry. At home, I always...
Prudence, now, try to understand. This isn't home. It's India. And Henry thinks he's a leper. At the hotel, Prudence and I hurried to the room. But the door was locked from the inside.
Henry! Henry, open the door! It's Prudence! Henry! Henry, please open the door!
I know he's in there.
Oh, I want to help you, darling. Please let me in. Please!
Prudence, go away. Go back home.
No, I want to see you. Please let me in.
It's no use, Prudence. Forget me. I'm unclean. Go back home.
Henry!
You've got to forget me, Prudence. Don't you see? I'm dead. For you, I'm dead. I'm finished.
Can only sit for so long.
Henry Riddell is dead.
I went after a doctor then, fast. Fortunately, there was one with offices right in the hotel building. Nice-looking young fellow, an Indian, dark and slender, and he wore Indian rather than European clothing. It certainly wasn't very coherent, and a perplexed expression came into his face. But he took up his kit and came along with me. We may have to force our way in, Doctor.
So? This is a very strange case, Mr. McAllister?
It sure is. Now, here we are. Anything happened, Prudence?
No, he won't even answer me anymore.
Henry! Henry! Well... Henry!
See? I don't feel the fire. Part of me has died. Who's that? Fred, who's that Indian?
Mr. Rydell?
No, don't you come near me. Don't.
You've got it too. You all have disease, leprosy, and I've got it. Get away! Don't touch me! Don't touch me! No, Fred! Bruce! Don't let him touch me! Don't let him touch me, Fred!
This guy's gone bonkers. I get it, though. I get it.
That was it. End of chapter. Dr. Pedaswamy shot him full of drugs, knocked him out. A few days later, Henry Rydell left India by plane and on a stretcher, tied down, too. But Prudence was along to take care of him. As for me, tough. I lost the contract. Deserved to, I guess. The way I treated Henry, dragging him around India in that condition. End of chapter, but not quite the end of the story. I knocked around Asia for months after that, and all the time I wondered how poor old Henry came out. But never a word. Then one day I found myself back in the States again, in Cleveland, as a matter of fact. I went out to see what had happened to him.
Right here in Cleveland.
Henry was not in a leper colony, or even an insane asylum. Henry was in front of his own house, raking leaves. He looked older, but otherwise fit enough. Funny thing, though, I said hello, and he said hello, and then he said...
I have to go in now.
Oh, but Henry, no, wait a moment.
Yes?
Well, I just want to tell you that I'm glad you're well again. You don't know how glad. It's a load off my mind. Henry, you remember me, don't you? Fred McAllister.
Yes? I remember you.
How's Prudence?
Prudence is in good health, thank you.
Fine. Happy to hear it. Well, aren't you going to...
Oh.
What's the matter?
Nothing. I'm all right.
Henry had grabbed his left arm as if it had suddenly been scalded, burned. And you know what it was? An ant. A tiny ant crawling on the skin. Feeling had come back to his arm all right, with a vengeance.
Well, I have to go in now. Goodbye, Fred.
Bye, Henry. I'm glad to see you home again.
Under the direction of Anthony Ellis, Escape has brought you The Untouchable, a story by James Leal Henderson, starring John Daner as Fred and Parley Bear as Henry. Featured in the cast were Joan Denton, Jack Crucian, and Charles Davis. The special music for Escape was composed and conducted by Leith Stevens. Next week.
You are in your house, surrounded by all that is secure and normal. While outside, your children are playing a new and wonderful game, the result of which will mean for you a fate from which there is no escape.
So listen next week when Escape will bring you Ray Bradbury's terrifying story, 0 Hour.
There you go. Escape. That was pretty good. Little, psychological horror, I guess. Yeah, I'm just doing a lot of little details here right now, like with the columns and all the front for this side. And then I'm sure I'll end up building the side with the organ to bring it all up to the second level here and all that. Speedrunner, you're in Cleveland? Are you in Cleveland? I'm curious. You'd be in the same city as me. How weird. But, let's see. Yeah, again, overnight tonight on the Late Late Horror Show, I have CBS Radio Mystery Theater timestamps, and we are starting it right off with the Dracula, and then Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde after that. So I don't know if it's just me getting in the spooky Halloween spirit or what, but yeah, I wanted to start off with Dracula and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I even threw A Christmas Carol in towards the morning. It's a horror. Turns out good, but you learn a lesson. That's for sure. Let's see. Drew Carey was in Cleveland, wasn't it? Yep. Drew Carey. I think I'll play one more episode and build a little bit more, and then we shall end the night and get ready for the overnight stream over there. Boy, which one episode did they just say? I would have liked to have played that one. Here's Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, The Lost Special. You know what? I'm going to play this one. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. Again, thanks for everybody for being here and hitting that thumbs up and all that good stuff. Oh yeah, I'm down sort of in the burb adjacent famous speed trap at Lindell. Yeah. I know exactly where you're talking about. About 20 minutes away, if that. Wow, speedrunner. Okay, so you're close by. So here we go, a Sir Arthur Conan tale on Escape. This will be the last episode, and then I shall get ready for the overnight. But I do appreciate everybody being here, as always, and hopefully you're enjoying the build. This is a pretty fun build, so that's all I gotta say. Here we go.
Fed up with the everyday grind, tired out by the dull routine, want to get away from it all?
We offer you Escape. Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
You are speeding through the English countryside, the fast express train rocking beneath your feet. And you know that somewhere in the dark ahead of you, a band of men are plotting the destruction of the train, are planning the moment of your death.
Today, we escape to England at the turn of the century and the story of a complete train that vanished from the face of the earth. As Sir Arthur Conan Doyle told it in his fascinating tale, The Lost Special.
"20 years with Scotland Yard have brought me into contact with many weird and unusual events in human affairs, but none more strange than the occurrences which began on the afternoon of June the 3rd, 1890, in the railway station at Liverpool. On no case before had I ever felt myself so helpless, groping blindly, as it were, for an unseen adversary, not being certain of the nature of the crime, not even knowing, in fact, if it were a crime. Suffice to say that along a short stretch of railway line in Western England, I learned what is truly meant by terror of the unknown. At 4 o'clock of the afternoon in question, having completed a rather minor investigation which had brought me to Liverpool, I was sitting in the waiting room of the railway station reading and waiting for the 6 o'clock train for London, entirely unaware at that moment of a rather ordinary conversation that was taking place in the office of Mr. James Bland, the station master, a few yards away.
I'm very happy to know you, Mr. Carroll, and you, Mr. Gomez. And now, if I might learn the nature of your wishes?
Simply this, Mr. Bland. My companion and I have arrived on the steamer from Central America, which docked less than an hour ago. It is of the utmost importance that we reach London as quickly as possible in order to arrange passage across the Channel to France.
I see. Well, it's unfortunate you missed the 3 o'clock train, Mr. Carroll. However, there'll be a limited leaving at 6 that will put you in London.
That is not soon enough, Mr. Bland. I cannot stress too highly the importance of my reaching Paris at the earliest possible moment.
I can understand that, but there simply isn't any other train until
Quite
6.
so. Quite so. I am informed, however, that it is possible to charter a special train upon occasion.
A special? Yes, it's possible. Rather expensive, though.
The cost is not important, Mr. Bland. How soon can the arrangements be made?
Well, Mr. Hood, do we have an engine available?
Yes, sir. Number 247 is on the north siding under emergency steam.
Good. Very well, Mr. Carroll, it's 4:08 now. We can roll a special out of here at 4:30. The charge is £55.
Gomez, you will pay Mr. Bland £55.
Who is on the standby crew, Mr. Hood?
Let's see. John Slater is engineer, McPherson guard, Smith fireman.
Call them at once. Have them carry 2 standard coaches behind the engine, and telegraph the station master at St. Helens to hold the local on siding there until the special goes through. Make sure the line is clear as far as Manchester.
Yes, sir.
I'll send for a porter to take care of your briefcase, Mr. Carroll. Seems to be rather heavy.
Thank you, no. I prefer to keep it with me, if you don't mind.
Certainly, whatever you wish. Now, if you leave here at 4:30, you should be in Manchester at 6:15. The station master there will clear you on to London, and I trust you'll have a very pleasant journey.
As I say, I was not aware of these events until a while later, and would have placed no significance on them in any case. At 4:31, the special train with its 2 passengers and 3 crew members pulled out of Liverpool Station and headed for Manchester. And at 10 minutes to 6, I was summoned to the office of Mr. James Bland, the station master.
And so that seems to be it. Very likely I have no real reason at all to be worried, Inspector Collins. But since I saw you below there in the station, I thought it wise to call you in on it.
Well, I'm happy to be of any help, Mr. Bland. As I understand it, your special train is running behind schedule, is that it?
Incredibly behind schedule. It's nearly half an hour overdue at Manchester right now. We've wired them to check and report back.
Well, it isn't exactly unheard of for a train to run slow, Mr. Bland.
It is, unless there's some reason, and I can't think of one in this case. The special had clear track all the way. It passed through St. Helens at 4:52, right on time. They wired us, and then 15 minutes later released the local to follow along behind it into Manchester.
You mentioned something about Mr. Carroll having a companion, I believe.
Yes, a great hulking brute named Gomez. He didn't utter a word while they were here. Seemed to be a sort of bodyguard. Carroll himself was small and stooped, with a swarthy complexion, possibly a Latin American.
And you got the impression that he was carrying something rather valuable in his briefcase, huh?
Yes, he wouldn't let it out of his hands. And he seemed to be in great fear of something, though I haven't any idea what it may have been.
What about this second chap, Horace Moore?
Typically English, about 40 years old, seemed very anxious to reach his sick wife in London.
Here's Manchester on the wire now, Mr. Bland.
Oh, good. What do they...
Well, just a moment. Well, here's a message. Assumed change in your original plan. Local from St. Helens arrived Manchester. Reports no sign of special train.
Oh, but that's impossible. St. Helens reported the special through ahead of the local.
Is there a branch line between St. Helens and Manchester, Mr. Bland?
No, not even a double track. There's only a single track main line straight through. Sidings, of course, at the local stations for loading purposes. But, Mr. Hood...
Yes, sir?
Check every local operator from St. Helens on. We've got to get to the bottom of this. I can't understand it, Inspector Collins. A locomotive and 2 coaches can't simply... Well, it's utterly impossible. It can't have just disappeared.
In a few moments, the answers began coming in over the wire. The first was from St. Helens.
Repeating our previous message, a special train passed here at 4:52. Local departed 15 minutes later.
Then from Collins Green.
Special passed here at 5 o'clock, followed by local train 17 minutes later.
And then Earlstown.
Special passed here 5:06, followed by local 18 minutes later.
Newton.
Special passed here 5:12, local train 17 minutes later.
At Kenyon Junction.
Special through here at 5:20, local passed 19 minutes later.
And then Barton Moss.
Local through at 5:53. No special train passed here today.
I tell you, it's absolutely unprecedented, Inspector Collins. An entire train and 5 human beings vanishing from an open track between 2 local stations only 8 miles apart. It's impossible.
There's the only thing to the contrary being the fact that it has apparently happened.
But I can't understand it.
Mr. Bland, I think you'd better make arrangements to get us out to Kenyon Junction as quickly as possible. Within 10 minutes, we were in a coach behind a goods engine moving at full throttle on the main line east out of Liverpool. Since the missing special had been reported safely through Kenyon Junction, there was no need for concern with the country this side of that station. While the coach rattled and banged along the miles, we spent the time poring over a large-scale map of that 8-mile stretch between the junction and Barton Moss.
As you can see for yourself on the map, Inspector.
D. Question, why do you rub the pieces on the table? Just curious. Because when I, like, some of the smaller pieces, like the 1x1s and stuff, you connect them and they're not all straight. So if I got a long stretch of like 5 of them and they're all not perfectly straight, just put it on the table, rub it together, and it levels them all out equally. So that's what I'm doing. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, it's just to even all the bricks out. The small ones, like that make a long tower. So there you go. Good question, though. You notice that?
Collins, it's rather open country through there.
Yeah.
Low rolling hills mostly, with quite a lot of coal mining and 1 steel mill. No towns or villages near the railway line.
Yeah, so I see, Mr. Bland. What about these spur tracks that join the main line? There must be a dozen or more of them.
14, to be exact.
Isn't it possible the special could have been switched onto one of those spurs?
Well, yes and no. 8 of them can be eliminated immediately. Besides being narrow-gauge tracks, they're also much too flimsy to bear the weight of a standard locomotive. Furthermore, they end at loading bins adjacent to the main line. They're not actually connected to it.
I see. Well, that still leaves 6. Are they all standard gauge?
Yes, but 3 of those 6 can be eliminated, too, since they've been abandoned for years. The mines they were built for are no longer operated. The Red Gauntlet, Despond, and Heartsease collieries.
Yes, but abandoned or not, if the tracks are still there, couldn't they be used?
No, they could not. When service to the 3 mines was discontinued years ago, the switches, along with several hundred yards of track adjacent to the main line, were removed to prevent accidents.
And that settles that. But we still have 3 lines left.
Yes, and all in operation. They serve the Big Ben and Perseverance collieries and the Carnstock Ironworks.
Good. Then there's the probable area of our investigation.
Probable? Inspector, I fail to see anything probable about a train scheduled for Manchester turning up in a dead-end siding.
Well, for many years now, Mr. Bland, I've been approaching problems of this sort with a certain theory of logic. Once both the obvious and the impossible are eliminated, and we seem to agree on those, then the solution must lie in the realm of the improbable, no matter how fantastic it may at first seem.
I can't believe it. Why wouldn't the train crew report in? What about Mr. Carroll's anxiety to get to London? Why wouldn't
Hey, wait. We're slowing down, aren't we?
That's right, sir. We're pulling into Kenyon Junction.
This is the last station to report seeing the lost special. Very well, gentlemen. This is where we start to work. We stopped in the junction only long enough to rig acetylene spot lanterns at either side of the coach, directed in such fashion as to light up the roadbed and embankment along both sides of the track. And then we puffed slowly out onto the main line and headed towards Barton Moss, 8 miles away. The first mile of those 8 dropped behind us and brought no significant discovery, and we moved on through the second mile. Save for the flood of light from our lanterns and the dull red glow from the firebox of the engine, the night was as black as pitch. Now and again, the ugly shape of a loading bin for one of the narrow-gauge feeder lines would loom out of the darkness ahead of us and float past, ghostly for a moment in our lights, and then dissolve away behind us into the blackness. But on the roadbed, the rails themselves remained unmarred, undisturbed, and offered not the slightest clue to explain a disappearance that grew more mysterious by the minute. We completed the second mile and moved on, and then suddenly...
What is it, Inspector? What do you see?
Stop the engine at once, Mr. Hood.
Yes, sir.
What is it, Inspector?
I think I've seen something.
I don't see a thing,
It's
Inspector.
just off the embankment there, in the edge of the bushes. We'll need a handlight.
Here you are, sir.
Good. All right, come on now, let's have a look.
By heaven, there is something right enough.
I see now. Well, it looks like a man lying there.
Oh, it's more likely the body of a man from the position he's in. Well, now, lad. Come on, let's turn you over and have a glimpse at your face, huh?
What? Inspector, why, this is John Slater.
Oh? And who is John Slater?
He was the engineer on the special.
Oh. Well, he's dead. His neck's broken.
Dead?
I'll venture a quick guess it was caused by a fall from the cab of his engine. Traveling rather fast at the time, I'd say. You can see where he rolled through the bushes for some little distance there.
But then what happened to the locomotive, Inspector? Afterward, I mean.
Well, that still remains to be seen, Mr. Hood. We can be fairly certain of one thing, though. The special must have come at least this far out of the junction. Otherwise, it's pretty difficult to account for the engineer's body being here.
No more difficult, surely, than it is to account for any of this. This whole thing is incredible. Impossible.
Well, we still have our improbabilities, Mr. Bland. Those 3 connected spur lines are ahead of us yet, and the chances are one of them is going to supply some kind of an answer. By midnight, I'd completed a thorough check of the 3 lines. The first one, to the Big Ben colliery, ran 1.5 miles back into the hills and ended against the face of a huge pile of coal. Not large enough, however, to cover a locomotive and 2 coaches. I made
That
certain
was
of
one side of a door I just
The line
made.
to the
I gotta make
Perseverance
another
colliery
one.
was hardly more than a half mile long. It had been blocked all day, and it was still blocked by a string of loaded ore cars, and ended beyond them against the open rock face of a quarry. And the last line, running to the Carnstock Ironworks, was a double track, and had been left open all day. However, a sleepy superintendent informed me that over 200 repairmen had been busy on the roadbed until well after dusk, and it was impossible to imagine a non-scheduled train passing through such a horde of witnesses unnoticed. Oh, shortly after midnight, dog-tired, we walked into Barton Moss Station, still without the slightest explanation of the mystery. I want to send a wire through to Scotland Yard.
Scotland Yard? Yes, sir.
Yeah. I'm prepared to postpone further investigation.
Investigation?
Until daylight.
Yes, sir.
Sign it, Collins. Can you get that up right away?
Right away, sir.
Yeah, some things take a little bit
Peaceful
longer than
English
others.
countryside and a dead engine driver.
You speaking to me, sir?
Huh? Yeah, no. It is strange, though.
Strange, sir?
In broad daylight, a 40-ton locomotive with 2 carriages and 4 passengers has vanished from the face of the earth.
In just a moment, we will return to Escape. But first, 10 great shows come to you every Sunday night on CBS, and right and bright in the middle is America's #1 comedy, The Jack Benny Show. Tomorrow night, Jack will take his place on CBS All-Star Night with a cast that's made The Jack Benny Show a welcome visitor in millions of American homes. Yes, Jack Benny, Amos and Andy, Helen Hayes, Eve Arden, and all the other great stars come to you over most of these same stations in CBS's 10 great shows on Sunday nights. And now, with our star, Ben Wright, we return to the second act of Escape and The Lost Special.
By the next morning, of course, the story was out and the daily papers went to work on it. But fortunately for Scotland Yard, the main attention of the press was directed at the moment toward the international scandal, which had been brewing for a week or 2 among high financial circles in France. As it was, however, letters to the editor in the Morning Post gave us quite a rough go of it. Oh, with all manner of crackpot
Seems
suggestions.
difficult to believe that the worthy operators of Scotland Yard have overlooked the one obvious explanation as to the whereabouts of the missing train. May I advise them that some 2 miles from Barton Moss, the railroad line crosses the West Branch Canal. Unquestionably, the special leapt from the bridge and lies now in the muddy
This
water.
whole affair is obviously the work of some subversive organization. And until the culprits are brought in to face their just deserts, no man, woman, or child in England can be considered safe. Now, my advice
we
in
are
the matter
witnessing the
is-
fulfillment of ancient prophecies. The forces of evil grow bolder and begin now to invade the earth openly. There is no doubt
but what that strange man Keratol was really the devil in disguise. And it is
Our
high
first
time...
action this morning is to gaze quickly across the city toward Westminster Abbey. Considering the recently demonstrated inefficiency of Scotland Yard and the Manchester-Liverpool railway affair, it's quite possible the Abbey may be spirited away some night soon.
A week passed, and then 2 weeks. We scoured the whole western countryside, following up every lead, tracking down each rumor, and we got nowhere. 3 weeks, 4, and then the press began to ignore the matter. 2 months went by. Nothing new. 3 months, and the activity of Scotland Yard in the matter had come to a standstill. The reason was simple enough. We had no idea what else to do. So the records were finally taken from the active file and marked, case still open and unsolved. Even though I worked on other assignments, my mind kept turning continually back to the case of the lost special. I tried to think of some avenue left untried, some path overlooked, and I could think of nothing. I reviewed all of the improbabilities I'd tested and disproved, and I tried to... Improbabilities. Suddenly, a fallacy in my own logic began to dawn on me. Arbitrarily, I had called certain explanations impossible and touched them only lightly in my investigation. And yet, what could really be classed as impossible in a case which itself was utterly impossible? Back down to Barton Moss again, and then 10 days of painstaking work. At the end of those 10 days, I was certain that I'd found at least the essentials of the answer, and I was equally certain that I could never prove it. I could see only one bare chance, a desperate chance against long odds. I laid my plan before the chief inspector, and then Scotland Yard went into action.
The London Times, 21st November 1890. Rumors are circulating that a man named Dalton, arriving in Liverpool on the steamer Vistula tomorrow, may hold the key to the long-standing Manchester railway mystery. According to reliable sources, Mr. Dalton possesses recently discovered copies of the documents which were carried in the briefcase of the ill-fated Mr. Keratol. It is further stated that Scotland Yard is arranging to meet Mr. Dalton at the Liverpool pier and rush him forthwith to London.
The next afternoon, accompanied by Mr. Dalton, I walked into the office of Mr. James Bland, station master at Liverpool, and chartered a special train for London.
We shall have the train ready for you to leave in 10 minutes, Inspector Collins.
Good. I'm most anxious to get Mr. Dalton and his briefcase to London as quickly as possible.
Yes, I saw the squib in yesterday's paper, and I was afraid then you'd be wanting a special train arranged. I'm still worried about it, as a matter of fact.
Oh, I hardly think there's any need to be. You've run a good many specials up to Manchester since that affair 6 months ago, and you've never lost another one, now have you?
No, but I'll confess I've shaken in my boots every time I've watched one of them pull out of here.
I say now, you're going to have me jumping at my own shadow.
Oh, don't worry, Mr. Dalton. I'll have you in London before you know it, and none the worse for the trip.
Nevertheless, Inspector, you'll have to admit the situation today is very much like the one 6 months ago.
Oh, yes, in some ways.
The mysterious stranger arriving by steamer from South America, and in urgent haste to reach London. The carefully watched briefcase, which, according to rumor, contains the very same sort of material Mr. Keratol was carrying.
But there is one difference. Mr. Dalton is being accompanied by an agent from Scotland Yard.
Yes, but Mr. Keratol also had a guard, that chap Gomez. And both of them disappeared.
Oh, come now. Surely you don't think that anything so fantastic could possibly...
Oh, no, he's right, Mr. Dalton. It did happen once, and a number of the elements are similar. Well, Mr. Bland, I'll wire you as soon as we reach Manchester.
Hardly necessary, Inspector. I think I shall go along with you.
What good? But if you're looking forward to excitement, I can't promise it.
No, it will probably be a very ordinary trip. But if I stayed here, I'd be a nervous wreck by the time you reached Manchester.
Well, then come along by all means. Mr. Dalton and I will enjoy your company.
Your train is just pulled up the platform, gentlemen.
Good. Well, gentlemen, we can't keep the fates waiting, huh? Let's get aboard.
Well, it's certainly been an uneventful journey so far.
Why, I hardly expected anything to happen this side of Kenyon Junction. And it's right ahead of us there.
Inspector Collins, Do you mean you are expecting something to happen on the other side of it?
Oh, yes. Yes, that's the whole purpose of the trip.
I don't believe I follow you.
Yes, I imagine it is about time that you were brought in on this, Mr. Bland. I didn't want to take any chances by discussing it before we were well along towards the danger area.
We're passing through Kenyon Junction, Inspector.
Good. Mr. Dalton there is a Scotland Yard agent, by the way, Mr. Bland.
Oh?
And all he's carrying in that mysterious briefcase is half a dozen ham sandwiches.
I think I should welcome some sort of explanation, Inspector Collins.
Yes, did you ever hear of the old trick an archer uses when he loses an arrow? He shoots another in the same general direction, follows it, and sometimes he finds both of them. Well, this train and all of us aboard it constitute the second arrow, Mr. Bland.
Do you mean you're expecting this train to vanish like the other? Why, you're deliberately risking our lives.
Oh, the risk is not quite so great as you may imagine.
But what makes you believe the attempt will be repeated?
I've created as nearly as possible the same set of conditions that led to the first disappearance. If I'm right about the motivation, the parties concerned can hardly afford not to repeat.
What motivation? I fail to see one.
Well, it requires a bit of assuming, Mr. Bland, but the assumptions seem to fit the facts as well as the method used. Let's take some of those facts. Mr. Caratol was in a frantic hurry to reach Paris. His briefcase apparently contained something of great value. He was afraid an attempt would be made to prevent his reaching Paris.
Yes.
In Paris at that time, a huge financial scandal was brewing, which later came to nothing because of lack of evidence. The scandal involved illegal land operations in Central America, and Mr. Caratol had just arrived from Central America with his briefcase.
Even so.
Yeah, and finally, it must require a good deal of money to bring about the disappearance of a locomotive and coaches, whereas ordinary criminals rarely have a good deal of money. Now, do you follow me?
Yes. Yes, of course. If all that's true, then the idea was to eliminate Caratol completely, along with his evidence.
And that's exactly what was done.
Inspector, we just passed the spot where John Slater's body was found.
Well, then heads up, Mr. Dalton. It's only a few hundred yards now.
Tell me this, Inspector. Have you also discovered how the thing was done?
Oh, yes. But I'm in the unfortunate position of not being able to prove it.
And what do you think it's going to prove if the same thing happens to us?
Oh, that. Well, I forgot to mention that there are 20 agents of Scotland Yard concealed in the coach behind us. They're specially selected, armed with rifles, and are there for the express purpose of making sure the same thing does not happen to us.
We're slowing down, Inspector Collins. Well, I think this is it.
Slowing down? Why?
We're leaving the main line.
But we can't leave the main line. There's no siding here.
Oh, yes, there is. There's the spur track to the Heartsease colliery.
But it's abandoned. There's no connection to the main line. The rails were taken away years ago.
Ordinarily, you would be right, Mr. Bland, but at the moment, there's an excellent switch installed at the main line, and also a very serviceable set of rails connecting it with the old track. We're traveling over them now, as a matter of fact. You see anything, Mr. Dalton?
Not yet, sir.
The train is being manned, incidentally, by Scotland Yard agents. I took the liberty of holding the regular crew in the coach behind us until we could find out which of them has been bought off, and which scheduled to end up like John Slater.
But I must confess,
Inspector, look. Men are coming out of the bushes behind us. They're already starting to pull up the rails.
You see, Mr. Bland, in 15 minutes you'll be right again. There'll be no connection between the Heartsease siding and the main line.
Yes. Yes, I see now. By heaven, I never would have...
Mr. Bland, it won't do any good to try to signal with that pocket handkerchief.
I'm afraid I don't quite understand you, Inspector.
Then perhaps you'll understand the fact that you're under arrest for the murder of Caratol, Gomez, and John Slater.
Why, that's utterly ridiculous. Why have we stopped?
In order to permit it... There's your answer. I think that 20 agents of Scotland Yard should prove more than a match for your assistance.
Your guesses are nothing less than preposterous, Inspector. What could I or anyone else gain by merely switching a train onto an abandoned siding? The other special, if you recall, disappeared.
Ah, yes, so it did. And straight ahead of us, a mile and a half, if you recall, Mr. Bland, this spur ends at the Heartsease mine shaft, one of the largest inclined shafts in this part of the country. According to the records, it used to be 900 feet deep. But upon investigating it last week, I found it closed off by a tremendous cave-in at 400 feet. Now tell me, Mr. Bland, was the cave-in caused by the explosion of the locomotive's boiler when it struck the bottom? Or did you dynamite the shaft after the train went into it?
You've no proof of any of this and no evidence whatsoever against me.
Your train crew in the coach behind us have all signed statements. And I think we'll get a good deal more evidence from the men who are being rounded up out there now.
I have nothing further to say.
There's nothing you can say, Mr. Bland. We've seen your bank account with those mysterious and heavy entries which are dated about the time the special disappeared, which I am sure we shall be able to trace to certain French sources. We've succeeded in tracing down McPherson and Smith, the fireman and conductor you bribed to vanish. Too bad you couldn't bribe Slater, the engineer, because his death was most unfortunate. You see, his body furnished us with our first clue. Yes, Mr. Bland. Without Slater's body, we might really have thought that the lost special had disappeared into thin air.
Escape is produced and directed by Norman MacDonald. Today we have presented The Lost Special by Conan Doyle, adapted for radio by Les Crutchfield, with editorial supervision by John Dunkel. Starred as Inspector Collins was Ben Wright, and the featured players were Parley Bear, John Daner, Edgar Barrier, Larry Dobkin, and Paul Frees. The special music was arranged and played by Ivan Ditmars. Next week,
You're aboard the Orient Express, rushing through the European night, bound for Constantinople. And in your compartment with you, a gun pointed at your head, a small, mysterious...
Okay, I'm ending that. That was a good story. That was a really good escape story. Almost done with bag 7. I could probably do this in like 5 minutes later on tonight, but I'm going to end it. So yeah, and please give a thumbs up, and please comment underneath for me. The more comments the better, especially just starting a channel up. So please give me a comment underneath there as soon as I end this. But yeah, we're getting there. If you can see, you know, lots of details, and I am surprised at how many gadgets, and like this ain't a Technic, but it's got a lot of like moving parts and stuff. I like the chandelier up here, if you could see that, with the candelabra. So that's going to turn too. So just like any amusement park haunted house, this is going to have a lot of little things that you can do to make it look cool. I mean, look at the back of that. Look at all these wheels and turning things and knobs. The organ was the best thing I've built. I love it. I will finish the rest of this tonight. It'll take a few minutes. I'm going to get ready. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Harry, Chris, everybody for being here. Chris here is one of the... Oh, I was wondering, what the heck's that link? ipcooks.com recipes. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. Again, please leave a comment. I'm ending now, so don't forget, go comment right now, and I will see you guys either tomorrow or the next day. So I'll stream number 3. We've got more bags and more stuff to build. So we're